What is going on, everybody? It is episode 543 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. We are hoping not to be gaslit by Brett today, but it's likely because
You're
Sara's
acting crazy.
here.
It's already
I don't
begun.
know what you're talking about.
It's already begun before the show even started.
what you
He's
guys are
telling us
talking
both
about.
that we're acting like our mothers, even though he doesn't know our mothers. It's really weird. It's disturbing.
I don't know your moms, but I know women, okay? And you're acting very womany today, and your moms would not be proud of you.
Wow.
Now he's mansplaining.
Wow.
How you doing today?
I'm good.
Besides the gaslighting, how you doing?
Besides your constant emotional manipulation,
She's
I'm
just
pretty
doing
good.
this because she's trying to change the narrative around the fact that she's the one who beats me all
No,
the time.
you're literally the Amber Heard of this podcast.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
You're
I'm starting
maligning
to
my
think
name.
that the tables have turned.
They have not.
The turntables.
Guys, don't listen to these women. Oh, no, wait. So Sarah's here.
Oh,
Well, that's your name.
Am I allowed to speak now?
I'll get back to you on that. Anyways, guys, we got a bunch of... No, I'm just kidding. How you doing, Sarah?
I'm doing great in spite of it all.
Are you? I turned the temperature down. You said it was too hot in here.
For once, it was really hot in here.
Okay, so is it good now?
It is good now, thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
She gifted you an energy drink.
Oh, yeah, you
before
wanna
the
show
show
my present
with a
that I
bow
brought
on
you?
it.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
It's got
What a
yes.
nice gesture.
I was like, where did you get the bow? She goes, it was left over from Christmas.
Let's just demand that all of the guests come with a gift now.
I like that. It's like, so what are you going to bring for me? It's like when you show up to a house party, you bring a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
It's just basic hospitality. I really should expect everyone
We
to do
should
this.
actually
Super
that would be a
rude
good thing
not
to start like every time a guest comes, like, so what did you bring us?
Oh, you
Yes.
didn't bring a gift?
Nothing.
Okay.
You guys are scary good at gaslighting.
Well, remember when we had the jar of Sour Patch Kids, and every time that someone grabbed one, whether it was blue or red, we would like write
I would
down
go-
what they chose,
I would
and
go,
then be like, "Oh, interesting."
I would ask, what color did you choose? Oh wow, that's interesting. And they're like, what does that mean? Like,
Yeah, I know when you die, and Brett knows how you'll die.
that's an Olsen twins meme. Ashley looks like she knows when you die. Mary Kate looks like she knows how you die.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's up?
So, guys, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. Don't listen to these ladies; they're acting crazy right now. They're being a little bit weird. Well, they'll get over it, right? They'll get over it. Maybe it's that time of the
We're
month
getting
again.
hysterical.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. Okay, guys, we got a
Damn.
bunch of stuff to get into today. So, Gina Carano, this is the big news right now. Gina Carano has filed a huge lawsuit against Disney with the help of Elon Musk, and she is going to attempt to get back all of the damages she believes that she's owed because of the horrible treatment that she was kind of subjected to after she was unceremoniously fired by Disney back in a couple years ago.
I'm not trying to distract from the issue at hand, but do you think that Gina Carano and Elon Musk would make a good couple?
Yes.
Ooh.
Is that
Yes.
Would that be like
Yes.
iconic?
I like
Yes.
it. I like that. I like the idea of like somebody who can challenge him. Cause
Yeah.
she's like the nicest person on earth, but she's also, I guess,
She's nice, but she's a badass.
maybe she could whip him into shape, get him so he doesn't have
And
to take
she
that boat
seems-
picture anymore.
Yeah.
She seems actually sane,
Yes.
unlike Amber Heard or his potential other baby mamas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the other one?
Grimes,
I always
famously.
get her and FKA Twigs mixed up.
There are like
Yeah.
7 or 8 or more
Yeah.
baby mamas at this point. So it's a lot of drama that maybe Gina Carano doesn't want to get involved in.
So we're going to be talking about that. We're also going to talk about adult film star Whitney Wright, who is out there simping for Sharia law. I'm not even kidding you. She went to visit Iran, and we just thought we'd discuss this topic. Like, why would a girl from Oklahoma want to go and visit Iran? So we're going to talk about
You brought
this.
in the expert for that.
I did. We waited till Sara was here today.
I got so excited when I saw that topic.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
I have no doubt that you'll have some. Oh, by the way, it's because she is Iranian, not because she's an adult film star. That's what we're saying. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying.
Right. Yeah. I don't think anybody thought the latter.
Appreciate it.
I just making sure.
I mean, yeah,
you know?
in case, yes.
So you know a lot of the cultural background, I guess?
I do, yeah. I actually do. I mean, I was born and raised here. I'm an Iranian American, totally American. But I have been to Iran several times. Lots of family out there. Been to Tehran.
Interesting.
I didn't read the whole article. I kind of skipped through it. But once we get there, I'll be excited to put my 2 cents in.
Yeah. You want to hear the stories.
So we're going to talk about that. Also, ladies and gentlemen, Gen Z. We're going to crap on Gen Z again today. Gen Z needs therapy just to file their taxes. There is now a new phrase going around. It's called money dysmorphia.
You know, you can like pay a service to do your taxes for you.
We have a Charles here who will do that for you.
True. But in general, like, you don't have to go through it alone.
It's also really easy to do it through the IRS website. That's what I did last year. Just saying.
I like all the best time of year is tax time for libertarian memes, where it's like doing my own taxes and getting back $18 million. It's true. So we're gonna talk about that. We got a bunch of other stuff, but guys, before we get started, you should go ahead and hit the like button on this video. And more than that, you should subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here already. We have passed 99.4 thousand subscribers. We are getting oh so close to 100,000. I want to get there by the end of the week. My guess was Sunday, but I would love to get there on Friday. I don't know if that's going to happen, but you guys can make that happen. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do that. Share this video with your friends.
Carter posted a tweet recently, I think that was like an hour ago, where he asked for your help because he's creating a new Crisis Party sound for the show, hopefully before we reach 100K, so we can use it on that special episode, however long it will be. And he wanted you guys to send in submissions for stuff to include in that crisis sound. So go to his Twitter and send him whatever you have.
Cool.
So in the chat, Baham says, I don't know if I like it yet, Brett. Well, then make sure you're subscribed. Subscribe to this channel. We want to get to 100,000 very soon. Share the video with your friends, please, guys, so that more people can come in here, hang out, and watch the episodes. And remember, as always, all Super Chats, $20 and over. We will interrupt the discussion. We will read those Super Chats right then and there, and then we will do our best to get right back on topic. So if you ladies are ready, we will just go ahead and get started. Are you ladies ready?
I'm ready, but someone in the chat said nothing changes but numbers on a screen. That's not true. We're going to hit 100K and then start acting totally different. We're going to, it's like going
Stanley
to make
Cups
us
only.
egomaniacs. We're just going to be in it for the followers.
I'll only read Super Chats I want to read.
It'll be clickbait and fake news every day.
I mean, it's like that anyways. So.
Yeah, but like
more.
So
Look,
it's not just numbers.
It isn't just numbers. Look, it's like when you, I was talking to someone about this recently. We were talking about like, what is it about the job that you find the weirdest? And I think for me, it's the peaks and the valleys of doing this as work. Is like when the show is growing, when episodes go good, it's a really, really good feeling. So I choose to just not feel that. I choose to disconnect almost entirely. When a show goes good, great. When a show goes bad, that still sucks. But if you don't allow yourself the peaks and valleys, then you kind of hit that middle ground, and it's not as emotionally taxing, I guess, when you think about it. But there is an argument to be made that the milestones matter, right? Like it matters for credibility, I think, for the show more than anything.
Totally.
So please go ahead and know that we are all very grateful that you are here and watching this show and subscribe to us. I'm thankful for that, especially every day. And subscribe if you haven't already.
And you get a plaque.
Yes.
Right?
And
That's a big deal.
Yep.
To me, at least.
We're going to get two, hopefully one for each of us.
No, we have to get one and then split it in half.
Yeah. All right. Down the middle or?
Down the middle,
Diagonal.
obviously. No. Are you insane?
What?
Because then it becomes who gets the side with the actual play button logo.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Well,
Down the middle.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's only fair.
Vertically. Okay, guys. So yes, you are ready, ladies?
Honestly, I'm still a little warm, but I'm ready. I'll power through. I'm ready to go.
Women. Gosh, you can never make
So many demands.
Why do I do this, guys? Why do I put up with this every single day? I swear. All right, let's go ahead and get started then. First things first, if you guys remember, Dune 2 is coming out soon. People have talked a little bit about how they've got some concerns about some rewrites or some changes that Denis Villeneuve has made to the script. We didn't really get into that.
I didn't hear about that.
But more importantly, we have the Dune popcorn bucket, which is a story in and of itself still.
The sussy popcorn bucket.
Very sussy, but it looks like something Whitney Wright might have.
It's been compared to a lot of things that we won't name. High Voltage 75 sent $20. I heard today that Gen Z thinks you're old if you still have a wallet. Is there any truth to this, Mary? As an older millennial, I couldn't imagine conducting all my transactions through my phone.
Oh, wow.
I did see, okay, so Hot RV Mommy, who still exists, did this video where, because I
hate when you call her that.
It's hilarious. Okay, so
Hot RV mom.
Mom. Anyways, she does her videos, and she did this video where she's like, my husband carries around like a Ziploc bag with his money,
Like a fanny pack?
Like it's just a
No,
Ziploc
it's just a gallon bag.
And this
Okay.
was like an ad for like a wallet they got a sponsorship for, and it's her like taking all of his stuff out to put in this new wallet.
That's so fake. There's no way that he was carrying his money.
But
in a
the
plastic
funniest
bag.
part being is
Yeah, I
like,
don't buy it.
assuming that this is true, I'm like, he records all her videos, so he had to record her dunking on him with his crappy wallet system. But then in the comments, people are like, people still carry wallets.
What?
I mean, obviously women don't.
Yeah.
Right, but men
like-
kind of need to.
I have one of those like long wallets.
Well, that counts, but like it's inside your bag.
Yeah, inside
I
my
have
purse.
like a Ridge wallet. It's only like this big, like, and that one's tiny. Very easy to lose, but I don't have a whole ton of, like, I don't have 50 cards or anything. I have my health insurance, debit card. I don't even
Bring
know.
back money clips.
Yeah, well, in a lot of those things have
They don't
money
make
clips on
like
them.
I never see those dad wallets anymore. I remember my dad growing up had a wallet that had all those like stickers or like plastic things where you could put photos of your kids in them.
Yeah.
That would kind of
Aw.
like fold out.
That's
You remember
cute.
those?
Yep.
They don't make that anymore.
Well,
Or at least I
people
see
don't be
them.
reproducing anymore, so they don't have pictures
True.
to carry
No,
around.
they have phones that have their
Carrying
pictures
around
on them.
Pictures of amaranth in your dad wallet.
Oh my.
No, there are like I always get these advertisements for this thing. It's like a keychain that looks like a roll of film, and you open it up and it's got all your family photos as like transparencies on there. So it's like a gift you can get someone.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And stuff like that. But yeah, so you can get the popcorn bucket, and Josh Brolin says, "I'm not sticking my hand in there. I'm good. I'll starve."
Because it would make you gay.
Yes.
If you did. But Dave Bautista disagrees,
No.
and he essentially
"Ain't no way I'm-"
imitated fisting the popcorn bucket.
Here, you can watch.
Put my hand in that thing.
I was the exact opposite. I was like,
Thank you, Dave.
That has been playing on a
said, "Ain't no
loop
way
on
I'm
my
put-"
He
screen
straight up
since I've been here.
violated
Yep.
the popcorn
My
bucket.
hand.
He did.
I feel bad for it.
I don't. I'm gonna when we go see the movie, I'm gonna like subtly count who actually gets
Well,
the popcorn bucket.
It's only at the AMC theaters, right? Because they
Oh,
make this a
yeah.
thing where they make a popcorn bucket for all of the blockbuster films.
So
now.
we won't.
It's
see
really
that 'cause We don't
stupid.
go to AMC.
You have to pay like $25 or something to keep it or more. Why would you want that?
That's ridiculous. They used to sell those at Blockbuster. I remember as a kid, we'd like rent a movie on the weekends, and they'd have those like big buckets of popcorn that you could like microwave.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
Blockbuster. The good
Blockbuster,
old
man.
days.
Yeah.
I did see a meme recently. It says like Gen Z will never understand, and it was when you go through a row with all of the same movie and they're all out. Like everybody's checked the ones out. So it's like you'd have the box for the movie, and then behind it would be the one you could rent, and that's how you knew it was in.
Yeah.
But if they were all out, it would just be the box of the movie against the wall. And I was thinking about this the other day. One of the reasons I think that streaming doesn't work for me for finding like new movies or watching old movies is like if it's not the image that I associate with the movie, I don't end up clicking on it. So if I look at a movie, like if I look at the picture that they advertise it with, if it's not the cover of that movie, like the box of it,
Yeah.
like I don't
They
associate it with the movie.
change those on Netflix
All the time.
constantly, and it makes it difficult to navigate.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like
Yeah.
that at all. All right, Kanye's struggling right now, guys. He's only
usual.
been able to book the United Center, and to be fair, he sold it out in 7 minutes. But I guess United Center must be in Chicago.
I guess that United is really in need of money because everyone is boycotting them for the DEI stuff with
Yeah.
their pilots.
Wait, wasn't that American Airlines?
No, it's
Was it
United. And their CEO was the one doing the drag performance.
Oh,
right?
no.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Kanye, he recorded this clip. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Yeah.
Yo, this Ye. We just sold out the United Center in 7 minutes. And I just wanted to express to everybody out there to see if it's anyone that can help with this. It's the only arena that I had access to in the past year. And when I call, people say there's no avails for me. And you know why that is. So if there's anybody out there that can help with this, please do.
I like the idea that somebody's like, well, I saw you with your like platinum teeth and I just didn't take you seriously.
Or I saw your girlfriend going down on you in Italy.
Yeah, or recently she's been going out wearing like nothing but a raincoat, like a clear raincoat.
I thought they both did it. But
Look, call me sexist, but I don't need to see Kanye in nothing but a raincoat. I'm perfectly happy seeing Bianca Censori in
Different.
nothing but a raincoat. Kanye, I draw the line there.
Yeah.
Personally. That's just me.
do people just not want money? I mean, he sold out this arena in 7 minutes. There's clearly a high demand to see him at concerts, and they just don't want his money.
It's because the average person isn't plugged into all of the nonsense that's going on.
Or if they are, it's like they don't care. They have their own problems to worry about.
Right.
So people are saying he could rent a stadium. I'm guessing what they're saying is that they're not letting him. They're saying, no, we have no available dates.
They're lying, obviously.
I like that.
And we know why that is.
Who is the person who's in charge of like just telling him that lie? Who's like, he calls and he's just talking to some poor like.
Well, it's probably not Kanye himself who's asking, right? He has a person for that.
It's funny if he's the one calling and they're like, I'm sorry, Mr. Ye, but we don't have any dates available.
Or if they're like straight up like, we won't book Kanye, and his assistant is like, okay, how do I break this to him?
Yeah.
He's like, they're booked.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, when's the next available date? Oh, 2037. That's the next available date.
They said they'd get back to me.
Yeah.
And they'll continue to say they're going to get back to me.
Poor Kanye.
Well, I think Mary's going to like this article here because Henry Cavill has decided to speak up on the topic of sex scenes in movies, has he not?
Yes. Henry Cavill recently appeared on a podcast with Matthew Vaughn, who directed Argylle, which thankfully did not have any sex scenes in it. And he said that he doesn't understand them and he doesn't personally enjoy having to do them either. He said, I'm not a fan. There are circumstances where a sex scene is actually beneficial to a movie rather than just the audience, but I think sometimes they're overused these days. It's when you have a sense where you're going, is this really necessary or is it just people with less clothing on? And that's when you start to get more uncomfortable, thinking there's not a performance here. There's not a piece which is going to carry through the rest of the movie. He added, sex scenes can be great in a movie and can really help with the storytelling. Most of the time, the human imagination is going to trump it, like the instrument.
Yeah.
So it can be a little bit of a cop-out if a TV show or movie is just filled with gyrating bodies and you're going, okay, but what is this doing for us apart from the idea of, oh, a naked person? Great.
What's funny is I don't actually just attribute that to sex scenes. I actually, for the most part, when the storytelling is done right, I attribute that to how they handle violent scenes as well. One of the best examples I can think of is the first time I saw The Dark Knight. I remember it being far more violent than it actually was. The best example being when he like gets into the mob headquarters by posing as a dead body, and then he basically puts the knife in the dude's mouth.
Wait, who is the Joker?
The Joker, when he puts the knife in the dude's mouth, and he gives the whole speech about how did you want to know how I got these scars and stuff like that. And in my brain, I thought of it as like I actually saw him cut this dude's face, but it's not. What happens is you hear the music. The tension from the music build. He goes, and then you hear a crescendo and it cuts away to him basically dropping the body on the floor. But in my brain, I processed that as something far more violent than it actually was. It wasn't until I rewatched the movie that I realized that they hadn't shown it. Which is just great filmmaking, which means that for the most part, what you're seeing is a lack of skill on the point of, on behalf of the creators who don't know how to suitably, incredibly build the tension in their scenes to make a implied sex scene that cuts before it happens worth it.
I mean, when he says they can be great and they can advance the plot of a movie at times, I'm like, citation needed. Add an example. Go ahead. Name one example if you can. Because if Oppenheimer is an example that he would name, I disagree.
It didn't need it in Oppenheimer.
No.
It didn't. Not in my opinion.
Has there ever been a movie where it was absolutely necessary?
I can't think of one. I've got some examples of TV shows that could have probably gotten away with it but didn't need it and didn't do it. But for the most part, when I see it, it doesn't really add to it. I would say that some of the... Okay, so in True Detective, in season 1, there's a good amount of nudity. And in my brain, it built out the seriousness and the reality of the world they were living in, which is that you're looking at something that's not made for kids. It's a story that's not made for kids. There's a harsh world to the violence and the depravity of what you're seeing there. And the nudity fills in that harshness and makes you take the story more seriously because it's saying, look, this is not for kids. This is not sugar-coated for kids. And I actually appreciated that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I recently watched that show and I actually would agree with you.
Yeah. Like if you're watching that show, which is as dark as it is, and then they're doing the clothed strip club thing, you're gonna be like, this suddenly feels very edited for television, and it takes away the seriousness.
Takes you out of it for sure.
Really? Because I mean, I think streaming ruined decency in our media because they're not subject to the same regulations. But Breaking Bad was aired on network television, and it didn't feel like it was being sugar-coated or made kid-friendly at all. It had veiled sex scenes or veiled nudity, but it was very minimal.
The story was different, though.
Yes, it's a darker story.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's darkness to Breaking Bad, but there's still a certain amount. I don't even know how to describe it.
Because the subject matter was different. Breaking Bad was about him cooking meth and doing it for his family, whereas True Detective is about these guys who are investigating a sex crime.
Yes.
And how that intertwines with their own lives.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't watch True Detective, so I wouldn't know.
So like watching that, I feel like it would have shortchanged it if they hadn't done.
But most of the time, if I'm watching a streaming show that has excessive sex scenes or nudity, they start off a scene with just sex.
Yeah.
And then it goes into a dialogue out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like you could have just shown us the dialogue because this had nothing to do with
True
it.
Detective is the exception. Most of the time, the only thing a sex scene serves in a movie or a show for me is to just feel uncomfortable with whoever I'm watching this show with.
Or just alone, honestly.
Yeah,
or
just feeling like a creep.
Yeah.
Like a voyeur.
It's voyeuristic.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're messed up for like, no, don't point the finger at me. Like, you forced me to watch this.
And Henry Cavill is saying that he's not a fan of doing them. And
Matthew Vaughn also said that he doesn't include sex scenes in his movies because he doesn't even understand how to direct them.
It wouldn't make any sense for Matthew Vaughn movies are so quirky that whatever sex scene would be in there would be quirky and weird anyways.
I guess so.
Which it's already weird that to think about two people simulating having sex with each other in the first place.
Yeah.
Right. Like, how are we going to
so
suspend
awkward.
disbelief on it?
It's interesting to hear like different Hollywood actors' school of thought on this because look, we there was just the story recently. Who was the actor that we were just talking about recently? We didn't end up covering it on here. Who said he almost? Oh, it was Christopher Eccleston from Doctor Who said that he basically got like Me Too'd before Me Too was a thing by this girl who said that he put his hands where they shouldn't be on
During
set
a sex
during a
scene,
sex scene, and he's like, and people on set backed him up and said no, he didn't.
Well,
Right?
it's presumably all on camera, so they would be able to see what happened anyway. But he didn't even name who it was or what project it was.
But hearing different actors have different schools of thought when it comes to sex scenes, like the older actors have a very different take on it because they come from a time when there was a hell of a lot less expectation to be regulated on set by directors, by the studios, which are always looking to minimize risk and prevent these types of Me Too stories from coming out in the public.
Well, it's not just Me Too. I mean, okay, intimacy coordinators were introduced into these sets because people feel uncomfortable about filming sex scenes.
Yeah.
Understandably, people feel uncomfortable about simulating sexual acts on camera with an entire room of people looking at them doing it. That's something that I understand being uncomfortable about, and I don't think it should be an expectation for their job.
Now they're
so they
saying-
thought, we don't really care whether they feel comfortable about doing sex scenes, but we definitely care about our liability if they make an accusation about it in this post-Me Too world. So we're going to introduce intimacy coordinators with the justification that supposedly they're there to make everyone feel comfortable, but really they're just a glorified HR rep who is there to avoid the studio being in a liable position for something going wrong.
It's also interesting because whenever the new generation of actors talks about why they like having the intimacy coordinators on set, they never explain the job in a way that doesn't seem like it's something the director could do themselves. Like if the director was good enough at their job that they would be able to do the same thing.
Intimacy coordinators are usually multi-hyphenates who direct as well, though.
I mean, most of the ones, no, it's like a course you have to take now. Like most of them, from what I've seen, they're just basically HR people. It doesn't look like they actually have any history of actually directing a ton of work.
What do they actually do? Are they brought in specifically to direct? Like,
yes, to like what this hand can go
that
here.
scene?
This, yeah,
Oh.
like older actors have a problem with it because they feel like it destroys the honesty of the scene because they have to feel. Remember what do they always talk about? Like when we talked about with Arden and all that stuff. You have to be free. You have to feel uninhibited. And then you have this person saying you can't put your hand here, can't put your hand here, can't look here for. You know what I'm saying?
There's nothing uninhibited.
It runs contrary to their actual philosophy on acting.
There's nothing uninhibited to begin with about simulating sexual acts on camera with an entire room of people looking at you.
Well, what they're saying now is a lot of them are doing closed sets for these types of things, which means like cameraman, director, intimacy coordinator, minimal people. So it's not the room full of
because people feel uncomfortable because it's not something you're supposed to do. Like sex is supposed to be private.
And back in the day, it was pretty normal to not want to do these types of things. But now you're kind of shunned as an actor if you choose not to do these things.
420 Funny said to $20 saying the only sex scene that makes sense is the one that makes John Connor. Other than that, I've been rolling my eyes for years at the forced romance that's totally needed, especially the ones after a long time with no showers.
I'm going to go watch Terminator and Terminator 2 this weekend then. That's what I'm going to do. All right, let's move on then, shall we? We got some bad news for Marvel. This is a very tragic story. So a crew member died on the set of Wonderman very recently, and now there's an investigation going on from the California Division of Occupational Safety and Health. A member of the Wonderman crew died in an accident on Tuesday at Radford Studios, where a lighting rigger fell from the rafters. It is reported that the incident didn't happen while the series was filming, so they're likely setting stuff up. It says, our thoughts and deepest condolences with his family and friends, and our support is behind the investigation into the circumstances of this accident, Marvel Studios said in a statement.
So there's an ongoing investigation from OSHA now, but it wasn't one of the cast members. Aren't they supposed to be like harnessed if they're up there
maybe a harness
on the
broke.
rafters?
Yeah, something could have.
I see all said, I found the video of Mary's bar fight. It's on YouTube. Oh, we'll get into that later.
I saw it posted on X earlier.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Who posted it?
Somebody sent it to tag me and you in it.
That's funny.
I didn't watch it, but
we'll have to watch
I've already had the play-by-play from Mary given to me.
We'll have to watch it
at a previous time. We could watch that on stream.
I would love to.
They'd have to reach a wager though.
Okay.
Guys, 10 crisis parties for us to show the bar fight video.
There you go.
Live reaction
to the bar fight video.
Yep. Also, some of my favorite Instagram accounts to follow are like OSHA violation accounts.
Wait, really?
Of just people doing really unsafe things on work sites.
It's crazy that gets posted.
I like the one where it's like a guy he's out on like a balcony, and he needs to go farther out, so they place 4 boards on the balcony to make it longer, and 3 guys stand on the boards as the guy goes out there to not let him fall.
Hasn't something similar to this happened for Marvel before on a different project, or am I confusing that with someone else? It was like a motorcycle accident.
Like this has just happened before in general, where like a lighting fixture falls on someone.
I think
it was a stunt person who died doing a motorcycle stunt.
Deadpool set or on one of the
Deadpool?
Captain. I don't remember which one.
You just said bad news for Marvel, and I'm like, is there ever good news for Marvel?
It doesn't seem like
no,
there's
not really.
ever good news for Marvel.
I mean, the mere fact that they're shooting Wonder Man, I cannot get past that part.
That's a character.
How long has he been a character?
When?
It's like people were talking about. Is this the one with Yahya Abdul-Mateen? Yeah. So this is the statement made by the industry. It says, IATSE statement on fatal accident at Radford Studios in Studio City. Everyone at the IATSE family is shocked and deeply saddened by this tragic loss. We are working to support our members' families and his fellow members and colleagues. Safety on set is our highest priority, and we will assist California OSHA in their investigation in any way we can. If you feel unsafe on the set for any reason, members, please call the safety hotline. List the number here. Yeah, unless you want to get fired, and then you got to make your complaint anonymous because you don't want to be blackballed by the industry.
Yeah,
it's tragic.
Yep. So we'll have to wait and see where that goes. I mean, this is not.
Will they just have to pay a fine?
They'll pay a fine.
Yeah.
For something like this. So, all right, Jacob Elordi.
Yeah, speaking of violence, Jacob Elordi is now involved in a police investigation because he allegedly attacked a man who approached him on the street outside of his hotel in Sydney, Australia. This guy was a radio producer for one of their shows called the Kyle and Jackie O show. And this guy came up to Jacob Elordi asking him if he could have some of his bathwater for one of the hosts on the show for her birthday.
Well, that could happen to anybody.
A reference to the viral scene in Saltburn, which I thankfully have not had to watch. Basically, his semen is in the bathwater and another male character drinks the bathwater. So there have been a lot of memes about that and candles made that are titled Jacob Elordi's bathwater. Very weird.
People are asking who the F Jacob Elordi is. He's an actor.
Yeah, he was in Euphoria. He was in Kissing Booth. What else? Wasn't he in a DC project? Or am I wrong?
It's Euphoria is the one I thought
Yeah.
people always talked about.
Jacob Elordi asked the man to stop filming him and delete the footage. Then the situation escalated. The producer said, I refuse to because I feel uncomfortable right now and this is the only evidence. And then Jacob kind of just flips and pushes me against the wall and his hands are on my throat.
You ask a dude for bathwater one time and then all of a sudden they just lose their cool. What's up with that?
I mean, if you didn't want people to make jokes about your bathwater, maybe don't film a scene like that.
Is he the one? He's also the one who was getting compared to Jenna Ortega, to what's her name? To
Rachel
Snow White.
Zegler?
Because he had the quote about, I took a role because
it's a
I needed
job.
a paycheck. And people were mad because when he does it, it's cool. When Rachel Zegler does it, it's not.
He also played Elvis in the Priscilla biopic. I'm not a fan of him at all,
Never heard
to
of
be
him.
honest. But it just sounds like if it were a woman that approached him asking about his bathwater, he wouldn't have flipped out. But he felt like threatened.
It was like a really attractive
Well, technically it was a woman. It was just a guy asking on behalf of a woman.
on behalf of a woman, yeah.
Maybe he thought he was like some homeless guy coming up to him being like, hey.
I don't know. I'd have to see a picture of the guy to see if
Is
he
there
looks-
anybody you ladies would like to have the bathwater of?
No.
Absolutely not.
That's like a man thing. That's why Belle Delphine
had to
sold
ask.
her bathwater for
That's
thousands
totally
of dollars.
I had to ask.
I would drink your bathwater. Only a man
Who
would
drinks
say that.
bathwater?
Do you think it was a scam when Belle Delphine did that?
I mean, I don't think it's
What
do you mean?
Like, was it actually her bathwater? Or was it just water?
I like the idea that she would fill a tub and just like dip a toe in, and then
That's
just
all she
start
would need
filling
to
it
do.
up.
Yeah.
At the most.
Like, is it a scam? No, it's a bunch of men who are dumb enough to be scammed.
You're like, I hope her fingernails are in it. Yeah.
Like, it's a bunch of men
Her
who are
dead
dumb
skin.
enough to be scammed.
Weird.
Or desperate. enough to be
Weird.
scammed.
Weird.
Very weird.
So we'll see what happens. He
Yeah.
probably won't get charged with anything.
I did see somebody mention that we had made it 33 minutes without mentioning Taylor Swift.
That's a new record.
That is a new record. It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Congrats, you guys.
So you guys remember last week we talked about Alyssa Milano and the fated
Yes.
baseball GoFundMe incident. Well, Chrissy Teigen has had her own faux pas. It says critics call out Chrissy Teigen for promoting her daughter's Girl Scout cookie sale on social media. Well, I would love for it to be that the people were calling it out because of the Planned Parenthood of it all, but apparently not.
People don't know that Girl Scouts does give funding to Planned Parenthood. But
Also
obviously,
remember-
Chrissy Teigen's daughter, should I say, has an advantage over the rest of the Girl Scouts because her mom has 42 million followers on Instagram, posted the link to her cookies, and now she's going to be like, obviously, the biggest seller.
Right.
Yeah.
So people were mad at this. It's pulling in Alyssa Milano because, like, you don't need to beg for money on the internet
Yeah.
at your level of wealth, really. I mean, just let her have her own accomplishment, right? She's not really working for it, I guess. They said, okay, I sort of hate this, though. Link the internet to a low-income Girl Scout who isn't already totally hooked up to sell all her cookies.
This is the price you pay for working in an industry full of ideologically inclined Marxists. It's never good enough. So this is the bed you made for
True,
yourself.
true.
Sucks to suck. Also, remember, all Girl Scout cookies are made off the back of free child labor.
True.
It is. They're all sold. But
They're not made by the kids.
It's free
They're-
child labor.
They're made in a factory.
It's
They're not
true,
made by the kids.
technically.
They're just
Okay,
sold by
all-
the kids.
It's like a
all
loophole
of the money,
for
all of the
having
money,
6-year-old
all of the money
girls work.
earned by Girl Scout cookies is all off the backs of child labor. It
Yeah,
is.
and do they actually keep any of the money?
No.
No,
Wow.
no. Do you think that
Rocked
this
my
is a
world.
snowplow parent moment?
I wonder if it's just like when you're that rich, you're just disconnected from what the consequences of being that wealthy are. Like to her, like I can't even really blame her. She's just doing what she's doing for her daughter. It's just the fact of the matter is that you don't live in the same world as the other members of your daughters, are they troops? Are they just a Girl Scout troop? I have no idea.
Like any mom would do that, and maybe she asked her mom to post her, and Chrissy just didn't want to say no.
Yeah.
Don't forget the Girl Scouts standing at grocery stores selling their hearts out that don't have this advantage. She should teach her daughter to still work hard despite having celebrity parents.
Send her to the local grocery store in Calabasas to sell your Girl Scout cookies, and she'll still make more. And she will still make more money than the low-income Girl Scout cookie.
True.
She'll be in Calabasas.
True.
Or wherever they live.
But even Kim Kardashian said that she has North do lemonade stands to have spending money, except North just used it to scam people. She told them that a cup of lemonade costs $20 to scam them out of their money.
Oh my goodness.
And they probably feel bad and they pay it anyway.
Evil capitalism.
Paris Hilton said the same thing. She said her parents didn't give her money. She had to work for what she earned. Albeit she had the last name Hilton, so.
Like, what did she do to work?
Have you never seen The Simple Life?
No.
Right? Like, cultural literacy 101.
Was it similar?
Stars Are Blind.
She literally works on farms.
Was it similar to her being a fake DJ?
No, she really actually put the work in, worked on farms.
Okay.
Yeah. And she then they did a different season where they got corporate jobs.
I've also seen
worked in offices.
I've also now watched multiple TV shows that had her in episodes. Again, she just randomly appears in Veronica Mars for 2 episodes.
That's hilarious.
As just and she perfectly encaps because she plays just a mean girl, which is right up her alley. You know. So.
But she seems like a nice person. Just
She
very
seems
clueless.
for who she is, actually relatively down to earth. She didn't have to work.
You just said she did. You just said that her parents.
No, I mean, well, yeah, but she chose to do those appearances.
She built her empire.
Yeah.
Okay.
She made a name for herself.
She sold perfumes and makeup.
Well, maybe what these people who are mad at Chrissy Teigen should do is they should all crowdsource the low-income Girl Scout links and then.
Oh
send
no,
those
they're not
out.
going to do that. They're just going to complain.
Yeah.
Not like I enjoy defending Chrissy Teigen or anything.
How about
She's
instead
really
of
annoying.
promoting her Girl Scout cookies, she releases I don't know, a line for her daughter, like a clothing line or a makeup line or something that'll
Set up
actually
that
benefit
trust
her
fund.
daughter. Yeah.
No, she'll be fine.
All right, guys. So if you're a fan of sports, this might be good news. If you're looking for some consolidation, ESPN, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery join forces for a joint sports venture. So they're all going to be combined into one streaming service, which would be really good if what you're looking for is to get everything all in one place. So it says Disney, Warner Brothers Discovery offer the following big announcements in regards to a joint venture with ESPN and Fox. Via the official announcement below, the companies will launch a streaming sports service in the U.S. The sports offerings include NFL, NBA, WNBA,
LOL.
MLB, NHL, NASCAR, college sports, UFC, PGA Tour, golf, Grand Slam tennis, and the FIFA World Cup, cycling, and more.
Wow. And it will be available to all ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Max subscribers. And since Hulu is merging with Disney Plus, I assume it will also be
I'm so worried about
on
that.
Disney Plus.
I love Hulu more than any other streaming service, and I just don't want it to get they have the whole reason that I watch it is because it's got all of the old classic 20th century Fox shows that are just never going to end up on any of these other streaming services. A lot of shows that had similar audience sizes and season lengths are the ones that end up on the free streaming platforms, meaning that you have to watch commercials.
Ads, yeah.
And I will never watch commercials.
Do you subscribe to Disney Plus?
No.
Well, you're going to. Get
Nope.
ready.
Oh, I guess by virtue of
Yes.
having Hulu as well.
Well, what's the risk? I mean, I guess since Disney Plus deletes content so often, you're worried that they're going to delete those shows?
So, yeah.
Theoretically, they're just mashing it together.
Yeah, they'll end up getting rid of the stuff that I actually like. Like, I just started rewatching the Sarah Connor Chronicles again because it's so fun, and I don't want that show to just disappear because it only got 2 seasons. It's like a lot of these shows that I loved only got 1 or 2 seasons and end on cliffhangers. But because I'm a psychopath, I don't actually need to see the end. I just watch until I get bored of it again and then go watch something else. Like with most things that I watch 3 to 4 episodes at a time, go watch something else for 3 to 4 episodes at a time, come back to it 4 shows of 3 to 4 episodes at a time later.
We got a $20 from Gordon Shumway. Bathwater is nothing. I remember a story of a girl going backstage of an RHCP concert, getting Flea's underwear, wringing it, and drinking the sweat. Now that you're disgusted, my job is done.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely am. That's disgusting.
I don't want to judge, but that actually made me gag.
I want to judge, and I'm judging.
In the chat, somebody says Summer Glau. Nice. Yes, Summer Glau, who used to be television poison, is still fantastic, and I love her. So, yep. It's great.
Is CBS Sports Network also owned by Disney?
CBS? No, I don't believe so. I believe because CBS is owned by CBS runs through Paramount.
Oh, okay. So ABC is the Disney network. But I just saw this other news that Jim Rome is bringing his talk show to the X platform exclusively, and it will no longer run on CBS Sports Network
Crazy
after
that
this
there's
week.
going to be more people just going to X to run their stuff.
So I guess he got some kind of deal with X, like you would if you were a Twitch streamer moving to Kick or whatever.
Perhaps.
But I just saw this ad for X that says X, the everything app. And I don't know if I want X to be the everything app.
Yeah.
Eventually
That's
it'll
like that
change
Chinese app. What is it that you like were
Oh,
on?
is it Weibo?
Yeah, Weibo, where they can do everything. Like you
Yeah.
can buy things on there.
Yeah.
Like use it as a credit card.
Kind of weird.
Like I like the idea that he'll just change the name of it one day to a la carte. It'll become a la carte.
X is a terrible name.
It is.
I'm sorry.
And the logo, I hate it too. Yeah.
Somebody says, has Brett ever heard of physical media? Yes, but all my physical media is at home in Minnesota, so I haven't continued adding to that collection since I've been out here. And most of the time, when I get done with work, I just go and throw something on and play it in the background as I'm doing other things. I'm very guilty of how I always describe to you guys is like, I love it when you guys say that you just put a song in the background. I'm very happy to be your static background noise that you barely pay attention to. That's what most of it is for me. I watched them several times when I was younger or back in the day, so I've seen them all multiple times, and I like to rewatch them as background noise most of the time. Like, I have a very hard time paying attention to something I've watched 5 times whole way through. It's when I'm doing other things. When I'm watching something new, I pay closer attention, but that's more with movies these days than with television. All right, there's some big news because we do, of course, have the Super Bowl coming up. And there was some questions going around, like, what is the advertising going to look like right now? There's a lot of backlash against the idea of wokeness and the culture around wokeness. Certainly, advertising is fertile ground for divisive content in the past. But right now, I found this article that says, Super Bowl ads avoiding woke politics to appease constrained consumers, tightening their belts in the Biden economy. This is, of course, a Breitbart article. I was going to say it's a John Nolte article, but it's not. But.
Well, Variety reported it as Super Bowl advertisers are poised to play things safe, fearing social media backlash. So I assume they don't want to pull a Bud Light, even though that's not where the Dylan Mulvaney controversy originated. They're leaning toward humor and non-controversial celebrities.
Yeah, I saw. Did you see the one of like David Schwimmer and Jennifer Aniston? It's like, have we met before? And it's like that's what it seems like. All these Super Bowl commercials are becoming again. It's like
Nostalgia.
it's nostalgia for millennials and Gen Xers.
Like David
that's where
Beckham
most of
and
it's going.
Victoria Beckham. And
Yeah. Do you guys? I guess Mary's younger, but like. Do you remember the heyday of like the Super Bowl commercial when it was like a big deal to watch the Super Bowl commercials? I still think of back in the day with all the great old Bud Light, the actual Budweiser ads for like Real Men of Genius or the frogs and stuff back in the day.
Like beautiful women and like beers. Yeah.
Before Bud Light became like a no-no word, a no-no topic, you know, they actually knew how to advertise to the average American. And that's just not the way things are going right now. So this is what this says. It says, life generally is more difficult for consumers. They are more constrained, says Michelle Dinian, Vice President of U.S. Oreo Operations. I love that. She told the outlet, I think you'll see those brands that lean into nostalgia, humor, emotion at the Super Bowl. Those brands will resonate with the consumer. And they seem to be going the same way with the Super Bowl halftime shows, which all seem to be kind of, thank you. All seem to be kind of pushed towards millennials and nostalgia. It's Usher this year, right?
Yeah, Usher. Well, last year it was Rihanna, right?
Yeah.
Remember when there was like a backlash to Rihanna's performance because she was wearing a red outfit?
Yes, it was
satanic. Construed as demonic because the color red is like Satan holding a pitchfork.
And of course, the year before that was Shakira and
And J-Lo, right? And they
that was
got
bad.
a lot of backlash because they were, twerking on national television. It was
very
supposed to
scary.
be a
Daughter,
family
too.
event.
Yeah, it was like J-Lo's daughter was also dancing on stage too.
Oh,
wasn't
really?
it? Or one of their daughters, I think, was like a backup dancer, and people weren't happy about that.
I didn't know that.
But they said they're bringing back the Clydesdale horses for Bud Light this year. But it's not
They
just
got
that.
Shane
like,
Gillis sponsoring them now.
Is that the I Love Twins commercials?
I think so.
Budweiser? Okay,
Yeah.
Budweiser used to do that. Yeah. They used to be a lot more, I don't know, masculine.
And
Hot Women in Beer sells itself. I don't
Yeah.
know why they needed to pivot in the first place.
Also, like there was articles going around like what trailers are going to come out for movies this year, and a lot of like, look, a Super Bowl commercial costs millions and millions and millions of dollars. It's not cheap. Like unless you have a real investment in like a big budget blockbuster movie, I don't even see how it's worth your time. They did,
Deadpool trailer?
Yes, I do think we'll end up getting. Or no, it was Disney. One of the ones. There was a couple of companies that came out and said they weren't advertising this year. But
You guys know Ian was in a Super Bowl commercial,
Yes.
right?
Wait, really? Which
Yeah, he was.
one?
Was it Double Mint gum or like spearmint? Some kind
yeah,
of gum
no,
commercial.
it was.
I know there was like a toothpaste, right?
No, it was a gum commercial.
Yeah,
It was
a
gum, okay.
commercial.
It was gum. Yeah.
I want to find that on YouTube.
But that's not all, ladies and gentlemen. You were wondering when we were going to get here.
Yes.
Okay, before we get into this, has anybody noticed in the last couple of years a real push online towards gambling and like advertising gambling?
Yeah,
It's
gambling
crazy.
is...
like they make sentimental gambling ads. Like sentimental football gambling ads because it's the only addiction you're allowed to like exploit now openly. It feels like. Well, it's not just the game that you can bet on this year. You can bet on Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl this year, guys.
Yes, these are prop bets that are going up right now. People are putting their money on...
Orbit's gum. It was Orbit's.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yep.
Okay,
Continue.
I'll look for that. Here are the following outcomes that you can bet on for the Super Bowl. Will Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift on field after the game? Will Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift announce their first pregnancy at the Super Bowl? That's funny. I don't think I would want to be proposed to on national television, but maybe Taylor Swift
How do you
would be
guys
into
feel
that.
about that? Okay, so how do you
Way
guys
too-
feel about the public proposal? Because a lot of people see it as emotionally blackmailing.
It depends. It depends on the couple. I've seen it on the Jumbotron
Yeah.
at sports games before, and it makes it awkward if you don't know your answer.
Yeah.
You really shouldn't be proposing unless you're sure she'll say yes anyway, right?
It's like a lawyer. Never answer a question you don't already. Never ask a question you don't already know the answer to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would hope it's something you've discussed before if you're going to do it publicly.
Yeah.
Right. And then there were other questions like, what lipstick shade will she be wearing? Will Taylor Swift be seen crying if the Chiefs lose the Super Bowl? Will Taylor Swift endorse Joe Biden after the game? Will Donald Trump mention Taylor Swift on Truth Social on the day of the game?
Look, I'm all in for Fetterman 2024, so my hope is that she endorses Fetterman.
Well, he's down, out, and divorced right now.
I'm hoping that she
He needs a boost.
I hope that she dumps
guy.
Kelsey for Fetterman and he runs against Biden in 2024. That's what I want.
Why do they think Trump is going to mention her on Truth Social that day?
That would be so funny.
And why would that matter considering
that
nobody
happens.
actually uses Truth Social?
Also, bets on how many times Taylor Swift will be shown on camera during the CBS telecast. Will Taylor Swift be seen mouthing a curse word during the telecast?
My favorite meme, it said like this year's Super Bowl is red versus red Taylor's version because both teams have red logos.
Also, this is bizarre. Will Taylor Swift's navel be shown on the CBS telecast? Why would that
weird.
even be a question? I don't know. And which will have more diamond carats, the Taylor Swift engagement ring or the Chiefs Super Bowl ring?
Obviously, her engagement ring.
Does the Super Bowl ring have real diamonds?
Yes, I would assume so. I don't think they're giving them
Wow.
cubic zirconia for the Super Bowl.
I'm
don't.
saying all of the above.
Yeah. Well, how
my
many
money on
times? Like
all of it.
It's
Yes.
what they're calling it the Swift effect, anyways. Like that's what they're calling all of this increased marketing push for everybody. It's why they're all trying to grab a piece of it. It's why people get so mad at us for covering it every day, but it's culturally relevant. And I was telling Mary this before the show. Okay, so here's the thing, guys. When we were covering Barbie, and Barbie was this huge cultural moment for entertainment over the summer, I was, you cover everything every day and you try to be as fair towards everything, share your opinion. And I'm like, is this ever going to end? But I could always see the light at the end of the tunnel. I could. I was like, look, it's
Yeah.
a movie. It will eventually be out of the news cycle. It still gets brought up from time to time because of the Oscars and stuff like that. But look, unless like something happens, like I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, there may just have to be a moratorium on this stuff at a certain point where I'm just like, look,
You just shut down all coverage of Taylor Swift
Because
until we figure out what the hell is going on.
Mary's like, look, I like it because I'm a girl and I like to psychoanalyze people. And I was like, I don't.
It's kind of what we do as women.
Yeah.
We read into things.
Yep.
We like to analyze social interactions constantly.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because Brett, you are like literally the opposite of Barbie and the opposite of Taylor Swift.
Yes. So
What do you
every
mean by
day-
that?
Every day I'm in
You
a prison of
embody
my own
everything
making.
that is not Taylor Swift and not Barbie.
That's aspirational.
I'm
I mean,
beautiful.
a skater who wears black every day, and I don't know, like
I'm in a prison of my own making here at work.
I have praised you for dressing in an apolitical way.
Yes.
No one would know your political leanings by how you look.
I love it.
Do you
That's
agree?
true.
Yeah, no, I would have never known that Brett was
Yeah.
like a hardcore libertarian.
That's maybe I think I told Mary, I said that's the greatest compliment anyone's ever given me. You dress politically neutral. That's a fantastic compliment for
It's the
anyone.
glasses.
Is it really? So if
Yeah.
I took them
The
off,
neutral
now
glasses.
I'm suddenly
Whoa.
what? Now I'm
Super conservative.
I'm not a Democrat
Yeah,
now.
no.
That's too bad. Yeah, so we'll wait and see what happens with all this stuff. I still find it weird that gambling is as promoted as it is. Like, you can't go through an app nowadays without seeing, like, you can't scroll through X without see MGM betting app ads or anything for sportsbook on any of these apps now. And it's such a big thing, and I just don't get it. I mean, I get why they do it because it's a billion-dollar industry, but it's still something that you can get addicted to. Like, they're not
Right.
like, you don't see like, here's an ad for crack. Like,
Well, the disclaimers are the same as you would see on an alcohol commercial.
Yeah.
You know, drink responsibly and
bet
gamble
responsi-
responsibly.
Bet responsibly.
And
But
you don't know
I do
how,
see it a
like,
lot.
You don't know how old these people are that are seeing these ads on apps and stuff like that either.
Yeah,
Because I'm sure a
true.
lot of people lie about their age on Instagram or on TikTok.
There have been so many scams peddled by YouTubers to their audiences of minors out there. They've gotten in trouble. There's a lot of gambling in this area too because we're around a big casino.
Yeah.
Lots of slot machines just in a random bar. I never saw that before moving here.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Pull
And they're always
tabs.
occupied. There's people playing them.
It's crazy.
Pull tabs were like a big thing in Minnesota, even not at casinos and stuff like that.
What is that?
I don't even remember how they work, but it's like it was a form of gambling. What would be funny is like I would my uncle used to he bartended at like several different places, but one of them was like a dive bar type place, and you'd go in there and there would be like pull tabs up to the knees of some people, like on the floor.
Oh. Is that like tickets you can collect?
Yeah, I don't even remember. I was too young to gamble at the time.
Yeah.
So, and gambling was never my thing of any sort. So, and I stayed away with it. Like, so, it's like sometimes I would have to go. Like, people would go to the casino here, and if you're in recovery, you're not supposed to gamble either. It
Right.
works on the same part of your brain. It does. To me, I don't see anything pleasureful about losing your money, but what can I say?
I know Tim loves a good gamble, but
yeah.
he's responsible about it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like he'll go into detail about these like intricate stories about like these crazy betting scenarios he goes through, and then he's like, and I was betting $200, and I'm like, oh, like, which for me is a lot of money. For Tim, it's just not a lot
most,
of money, right?
yeah.
So
Well, he's memorized like every stat, like for poker, and he's memorized all the books, and like he doesn't just gamble in the traditional
It's a
sense.
hyperfixation.
Yeah. No, he's straight going with the math, the maths and the logic.
I did like reading a bunch about like all of the psychological like work that casinos put into how they can get people to stay. Everything from the way that the slot machines in the casino is designed to not have clocks on the wall, so there's no passage of time. There's no windows or doors, invisible sight. So there isn't like like if you get there in the morning and it's night when you leave, it makes you feel like you're doing something wrong. So it's like that, and they pump oxygen into the room and stuff like this. All of this, the sounds that you hear,
Yeah,
it
it
always
must feel
sounds like someone's
weird.
winning. Like all of the work that has been done to keep people in the casinos.
And of course, smoking inside, so
Yes.
you don't have to take a break.
Yep. Alcohol being of a cheap alcohol is basically like fed to you by attractive women, and who would want to leave?
Sounds like heaven.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to show this video of Swifties who are throwing Taylor Swift themed Super Bowl parties because women are finally into sports.
Look, men everywhere are like, at least now she's not complaining about watching football on Sunday.
It's so annoying. It's like you're such a clean slate.
This is your sign to throw a Taylor Swift-themed Super Bowl party. Saturday might be for the boys, but Sundays are now for the girls since Taylor has entered the chat.
We got all of the decor for this party from Amazon, including this red shimmer backdrop and this neon sign that says it's a love story. It's an absolute must and perfect for our Trav and Tay.
How cute are these giant friendship bracelet garlands we made? Look out for a separate tutorial later on how to recreate these.
You'll want to have snacks for your party. Try this easy charcuterie made inside Travis Kelce's number 87 and cupcakes with football and disco ball toppers.
Make these sturdy Shirleys extra sparkly by adding in red glitter for the ultimate crowd pleaser. You can't watch football without beer, so this tower keeps the beer chilled all 4 quarters.
Now you're ready to set the stage with all the little details.
She had to like stop. She goes, how many quarters are in a game?
that make the party complete. We're also adding flower arrangements, Travis Kelce's jersey, and football for table decor.
Now here's how it all turned out. Everything is from Amazon and delivers quickly no matter if you're a planner or a last minute girly like us. Now who are you guys rooting for? Because we're Team Taylor's boyfriend. This is your...
God.
A last minute girly.
I can't. We have to move on, guys. Believe it or not, guys, that wasn't cringe of the day.
No, it wasn't.
So, what would you guys like to see? What would you like to see, cringe or cute of the day?
Let's do cute.
Cute
I don't know
first?
if we could do back-to-back cringe.
Okay.
I like that.
Sure.
All right, let's do some cute of the day then, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? This one first here from Cookie Don. Wow, it says chilling like a villain on a rainy day. Hold on, let me make him full screen there.
That's cute.
Very cute. All right, let's do one more. Let's do 2 more. All right, this is from Beanie Gang. Says, how does PCC feel about unusual pets? This is Waddles, my American toad.
What? I can't see the toad.
Where's
I found it next to the water bowl or whatever. Cute. Unironically
Down there?
Cute.
Very cute.
It was hard to spot, but
Let's do one more.
We got a $20 from Organized Business Services. Gambling on the Super Bowl and watching back in 2023. All I remember was the FBI banging down Brian Hines' door because he was selling the touchdown paper tabs in his bar. That is how he could afford new cars every year.
Interesting. Again, gambling. I'll never understand it. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense to me. All right, here we
Let
go.
me just
one more.
intentionally lose money.
This is from Kit Catalina. It says, this is Dougal McKenzie. He's my Idaho shag. He's definitely better looking than he is well behaved. It's about 80-20.
Dougal or Dougal.
That's a very interesting looking dog. Oh my god.
I didn't see the eyes in the first photo.
Very cute.
Is cute.
Cute.
All right, guys. And we have one more cringe of the day here.
I haven't seen this yet.
Yeah, here you go, guys.
Okay. Wow. What the?
Whoa.
What the? I hate it. Oh, I hate that part. I hate
Stop
that
it.
part. Ew. But you know, talented with the makeup.
You're welcome.
Better than Cats
Where
the
do you
musical.
find these?
Mary usually finds them. I mean, I find them too from time to time. But you know,
I'm the one who enjoys cringe.
she likes cringe a hell of a lot more than I do.
Yes.
That is for sure. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and get started then, shall we? Now that we are 59 minutes into the show. So if you guys haven't been paying attention, there was a very big piece of news that dropped yesterday, just as we were about to go live, and that is that Gina Carano has filed a huge lawsuit against Disney for her wrongful termination after all of the fiasco that happened that happened during The Mandalorian. This, of course, was funded by Elon Musk. This is a very big deal, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, and Elon is going off against Disney right now as well. He's also announced that if anyone would like to join the lawsuit against Disney, that they're free to reply to him on X and let him know. So this could turn into a class action. So here is her announcement from yesterday. Today is an important day for me. I'm filing a lawsuit against Lucasfilm and Disney. It's also against Huckleberry Industries, which is a Disney subsidiary. After my 20 years of building a career from scratch and during the regime of former Disney CEO Bob Chapek, Lucasfilm made this statement on Twitter terminating me from The Mandalorian. Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable.
She never ever did that.
Obviously not. Nothing could be further from the truth. The truth is I was being hunted down from everything I posted to every post I liked because I was not in line with the acceptable narrative of the time. My words were consistently twisted to demonize and dehumanize me as an alt-right wing extremist. It was a bullying smear campaign aimed at silencing, destroying, and making an example out of me. The thing is, I never even used aggressive language. I shared my thought-provoking quotes, pictures, memes, and occasionally I used my own words, not with aggression, but with respect and the occasional comedy to keep the mood light in dark times. Look with your own eyes at what I posted and ask yourself, for example, where did I compare Republicans to the Jewish people in the Holocaust? I didn't. Ask yourself why they were calling me a racist. Was there any merit behind that or history of it whatsoever? No. Look at why I was called a transphobe, for making droid noises from Star Wars. Beep Bop Boop was obviously directed to the online bullies and did not in any way denigrate transgender people. Were my questions about masks, lockdowns, and forced vaccines okay to ask and push the subject into light? Should we have been allowed to publicly discuss those topics at that time without being harassed or censored? Absolutely. Hollywood says they support female representation and equal rights. Why then were my male co-stars permitted to speak without harassment and re-education courses or termination, but I was not afforded the same right to exercise my freedom of speech? There she is referring to Carl Weathers, Pedro Pascal, and Mark Hamill. Artists do not sign away our rights as American citizens when we enter into employment. I've spoken to all my co-stars since I was fired, and there is nothing but care and kind words between us. I respect their right to free speech, and I don't think I don't have to think the same way on every issue to be their friends and work with them, and I know they feel the same toward me. A couple months ago, Elon Musk tweeted that if you had been fired from using the platform X for exercising your right to free speech, he would like to offer these people legal representation. Quite the noble offer, but never in my wildest dreams would I have thought anyone would take on my case against Lucasfilm or Disney. Still, I did respond back, I think I qualify, and thousands of people agreed, but I didn't expect anything. To my surprise, a few months ago, I received an email from a lawyer who had been hired by X to look into my story and many others. Turns out, after sending them as much information as I could gather, these past few months, my now lawyers and X believe wholeheartedly in my case and are moving forward. I would like to express my deepest gratitude and thank you to Elon Musk and X for giving me an opportunity to bring my case to light. As for me, I would love to pick up where I left off and continue my journey of creating and participating in storytelling, which is my utmost passion and everything I worked so hard for. It has been difficult to move forward with the lies and labels stuck on me, backed and encouraged by the most powerful entertainment company in the world. I'm grateful someone has come to my defense in such a powerful way and look forward to clearing my name. Thank you to all the people who have supported me and made your voices heard. I pray God blesses each and every one of you. With love, Gina Carano.
I recommend, like, on top, we're just going to talk about the broad strokes of this, but I do recommend anyone who's even mildly interested in this story, go read the actual lawsuit. It's not done in legalese. It's basically like, for the first half of it, it's describing what they're seeking, you know, what they're claiming against Disney, and then it's just page after page of evidence of everything that happened, almost in order.
A lot of it is screenshots of the tweets that were sent to her, everything that she posted, the things that her co-stars posted. And a lot of that actually came from John Trent when he was in Bounding Into Comics.
From Bounding Into Comics.
But basically, she's seeking a minimum of $75,000 in damages. I hope that she will get more than that.
As well as compensatory damages for loss of future employment, emotional distress, punitive damages, and attorney's fees.
Yes. And that's for not only her wrongful termination, but all of the reputational damage that she suffered at the hands of Disney because they maligned her falsely. It's basically defamation. She's seeking a jury trial, and I just think, imagine getting jury duty and this being the case.
Like, you have to pretend like you don't know what Disney is.
I want it to be televised. The revolution will be televised. I am so happy that she's seeking justice for this. And good on Elon for actually putting his money where his mouth is, too, because he could have just been shit posting. But he was serious.
So it breaks down into several sections. So a lot of it is her stance on not wanting to put pronouns in her bio. A lot of it is her stance on politics and on what was going on with vaccines and COVID. And a lot of it just comes down to internet bullying. And I always ask the question, like, why they ended up choosing her. Because as people had pointed out, she's not the only person who works for Lucasfilm or Disney that didn't have pronouns in her bio. But her unwillingness to acquiesce when they essentially cry bully and try to shame her into doing what she's told speaks volumes. And like I said, this lawsuit has a fantastic breakdown of all of this stuff in order. We can go through some of it. We want to start on like page 26
Sure.
of the lawsuits. Let's go down there. Or maybe let's go up to 22, or I'm sorry, 20. So
Sure.
up here, they're talking about on social media. Actually,
It just explains
Before
what
that-
X is, basically. But the harassment became worse when Carano allegedly liked a post that some claimed was not supportive of the transgender community. Late last week, Carano liked a tweet on Twitter that allegedly mocked users who practiced this method of self-identification, meaning putting your pronouns in bio.
but even before that, actually, let's start with it started with the ACAB stuff.
Well, yeah, the first thing was they were trying to pressure Gina Carano to post the phrase ACAB, which means all cops are bastards.
Disney was? Or her
During-
fans?
No,
During-
people
it was-
on social media were pressuring her to
People
do
on
this.
social media, specifically if you look at the profiles, a lot of them are Star Wars stan accounts, like with their names saying like Boba Fett,
This
things
one
like that.
this one is from Zuko Skywalker.
Yes.
It's Maeve 501 BLM. You're a racist if you completely ignore the BLM movement and don't support it. Being silent puts you on the side of the racists and the oppressors. This is said to her. This account says it's Boba Fett, Sleepy Fett says, Gina, if you're not a racist, then show us. Support and donate to Black Lives Matter. Use the platform and voice to stand up against the police who are committing crimes against those people they are meant to protect. If 12-year-olds on Twitter can do this, you can too. This is bullying.
Yes.
This is cry bullying.
Here was some more. 50% of Hollywood wears masks and respects the trans community. Too bad you're not included in that. Another said, hey, do you just not go by any pronouns? It's hard to tell.
This person said, this is from an account called Channel Kenobi. Again, these are all Stan accounts. It says, these aren't trolls. These are people trying to educate you so that you can be on the right side of history.
Here was an account called Ahsoka. Gina, just so you know, pronouns are a part of most languages, and putting them in your bio is just a decent thing to do. Your coworker Pedro has put pronouns in his bio out of decency, so you liking tweets that mocks that just sits wrong with a lot of people.
The number one thing is when they go through all this, they always show her responses, which are always cordial and polite, but firm in what she believes.
Yes.
So this is what she said in response to the ones that I was reading. It says, in my experience, screaming at someone that they are a racist when they are not, in my experience, screaming at someone that they are a racist when they are indeed not a racist, and any post and or research you will do will show you those exact facts, then I am sorry, these people are not educators, they are cowards and bullies. Again, polite.
We got a $20 from Gal Gadot. The Mandalorian season 1 was filmed in what, 2018? She knew what Disney was when she signed on for the paycheck. It isn't as if the company suddenly changed in 2020, so she wanted to feed the beast but not be damaged by it. How do you feel about that?
No. I mean, there's so many people, like Hollywood, it's kind of hard to escape any type of evil. And if you want to be an actor and you want to be a successful actor, you kind of have to take the bad with the good. And it doesn't mean that she should have been singled out.
Well, they point out
In
that
my
there are even examples here of someone like Carl Weathers posting the exact same post she posted, but just because it's taken from him because he was a liberal.
Well, all of these people have made very on-the-nose analogies implying that Republicans are Nazis, implying that Trump is Hitler, that Republicans are in the Ku Klux Klan, and all of these things. But because they're directing it at Republicans and right-wingers, no one says a word. So it wasn't that, it was her political leaning that made her
And
target.
here's the thing is actually, she talked about this on Joe Rogan. She changed her mind. She, at first with COVID, she was very scared and she was not did not have the same political stance. And then she changed her mind about the vaccine, about the mandates, about COVID in general. And then eventually it was like, Disney was also pushing her to do all these things, like putting her pronouns in her bio, and random people on Twitter were pressuring her to say ACAB and things like that. So not only was she someone who wasn't always political, it happened over time. And instead of just leaving her alone, she was forced into this political box that she didn't fit into at all.
Right. Yeah.
Which they love to do. They love to, you don't, this is why I always have the trouble with, even when we use labels like liberal, leftist, Republican, conservative, it's like you are made up of more than just a bunch of checklist ideas that make you this or that. Like I have a hard time articulating even what my positions are on a lot of topics. So the idea of somebody labeling me as this or that is actually kind of abhorrent. And I would say the same would be true of most people. Like you deserve to be more than just what people label you as politically, because it's a lack of nuance to who we are as people.
And it's saying you have to have this stance on this hot political topic right now.
Exactly. And the lawsuit also calls into question all of the things that they tried to do to re-educate her.
Yes.
Between her conversation with the two members of GLAAD and the attempted 45-person struggle session with people who were actively against her anyways.
These were also employees of Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy who wanted her to get on that Zoom call. And her offer in response was, hey, I would rather just go to dinner with several of you instead so that we can talk face to face. But they refused that offer because it wouldn't let them bully her with, from behind a screen, which is what was happening the entire time. They couldn't back it up. And actually, they say that they just want to, offer her help to understand their perspective.
So after she explained what when she put beep bop boop in her profile, her explanation says this is not directed at the trans community. This is directed at the cry bullies who are trying to make me speak a certain way through fear and coercion. Online coercion to do something. It was her retaliatory strike against them, not meant at anyone in particular who had no bone to pick with her, right?
She said that she even spoke to Pedro Pascal face to face about the pronoun controversy. She said, he helped me understand why people were putting them in their bios. I didn't know before, but I do now. I won't be putting them in my bio, but good for all of you who choose to.
Again,
I stand against bullying, especially the most vulnerable, and freedom to choose.
Again, firm but polite.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what you should be. Like, she's been magnanimous at every step of this process. Right. So this is where it gets into it. It says defendants engage in harassment of their own. However, unlike her online abusers, defendants, by this meaning Disney and Lucasfilm, were not satisfied. They subjected Carano to long phone calls demanding an explanation and criticizing her for not embracing what some see as mandatory solidarity with a vocal element of the transgender activist community. Even when she expressed that defendants' demands were excessive and asked for some time away from constant meetings, defendants refused, demanding that she continue with her re-education programs. They required Carano to meet with representatives of GLAAD, a national organization that promotes LGBTQIA+ acceptance, something she willingly did. She had a very positive discussion with two of their representatives during a 90-minute Zoom meeting, even reviewing several documentaries that they asked her to watch. Upon information and belief, the representatives of GLAAD with whom she spoke provided positive feedback to the defendants from their discussion. Even so, defendants continued to demand a public apology. Again, apology for what?
Why do you think Gina Carano was singled out specifically?
I have no idea.
Is it just that she has less clout than Pedro Pascal?
Like, I wonder if it's like, look, they hired this actress in this character, which was very clearly supposed to be the strong woman character, which she was. The difference is people actually liked this character, and the actress herself didn't end up falling in line with what they felt was the norm for Disney ideologically.
I questioned the idea that it was, cut and dry gender discrimination as the lawsuit claims.
They definitely mentioned gender discrimination because Pedro Pascal has a long history. Thank you. Pedro Pascal has a long history of making similarly politically charged posts other direction. I don't find the gender argument to be as compelling as the political leaning argument and the fact that he was just a bigger star.
But it was also Mark Hamill, and it was also Carl Weathers. Philip Reed sent $20. I'm happy we're finally able to fight back, but dear Lord, the more I see, the more I think we just need to shut off the internet and return to pre-1995.
It would put me out of a job, but I would support that idea.
It's insane to me that a random voice on the internet can have such sway in a company.
Yep.
Like, I kind of went through this similarly just last week. Like, a random person tweeted something at Tim about Brew that was like definitely a stretch of the truth, not the whole story. They didn't have their name in their bio. I couldn't actually look this customer up, nothing. And it just kind of ends up turning out like, oh, this person's just making a big huff and puff about literally nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're on a small scale. So I couldn't imagine being Disney and trying to take every single little tweet.
They're in the
seriously.
constant process
So-
of putting out fires when they don't need to.
So
Right.
when Fire Gina Carano started trending, they started monitoring the hashtag. And it is fair to point out, look, Disney fired James Gunn for making very, very off-color jokes and then just rehired him 2 years later.
Right. And there was also an example of another Lucasfilm employee named Christina Ariel who said that all white people are racist. So in response, they publicly supported her and posted a Martin Luther King Jr. quote while this controversy was going on about double standards.
Yep.
So it was a double standard on the basis of her political leanings. I wouldn't say it was on the basis of her gender.
And I do think that her being less of a star than the
Yes.
other people played a huge role in this.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make any of this right. And it is this is a story of one of the greatest fabrications of evidence. So what would happen is that every time somebody would write some shit article about how she's a Nazi, they would never include the actual tweets that she had. They would
Right.
never include the actual Instagram posts. They would say she said abhorrent things, and then they would never actually link you to what she said.
Now, if we're talking about right-wing sympathies, that's why I felt it was necessary to bring up Mark Hamill, because he was liking J.K. Rowling tweets that weren't just random tweets. They were related to her transphobia controversy. And his excuse at first was that he didn't read the full tweet and didn't know the context of it. But later on, he liked another J.K. Rowling tweet where there was a trans TV host named India Willoughby who tweeted at J.K. Rowling saying, "I'm more of a woman than you ever will be." And she quote tweeted that person and said, "Citation needed."
The way you said that was...
Mark Hamill liked that tweet. I don't think there's any way you could misinterpret that. I mean, maybe he's just old and not that, like he's not good at social media. But he liked that. He was a reoffender back in 2023. And he got in trouble for it, but didn't have any professional consequences.
Yep.
And then he just apologized again, acted like it never happened.
Yep. Also, it's fair to point out that after this went live, Roseanne Barr now says that she wants in on this.
Yeah, because ABC is the subsidiary that fired her. So that would be a really interesting development.
I just like, and this is the number one thing. My biggest issue with most of it is like they were so intellectually dishonest about what she actually said. And you can speak to anybody who worked on that show with her. And
Right.
I've never heard a person, a real human being that isn't a Stan account, ever have a negative thing to say about her. For all intents and purposes, she seems to be the sweetest person on God's green earth.
Yeah.
This is the post that got her fired. This is the big one that they never actually link to in these articles, which is a story post, was just a repost where it says, Jews were beaten in the streets not by Nazi soldiers but by their neighbors, even by children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that they get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews. The government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? This is a point where the thing says you can make your assumptions of what she means based on who you assume she votes for. As far as I know, I don't know if she ever at that time publicly and openly supported anyone. But you can make your assumptions, sure. I still remember after like January 6th happened, which I wasn't even paying super close attention to, but I made a story post about like if you have to silence yourself around your friends, are they really friends, right? And it was something that I thought was quite a powerful thing to say, but I wasn't referring to anything in particular. I wasn't even paying attention to January 6th. And I got a 12-page just spewing of garbage from somebody who used to be one of my oldest friends, took my high school photos, took my senior photos in high school, basically calling me racist and evil and awful, and how Donald Trump was awful. I don't think at that time I had ever said anything publicly for or against Donald Trump online ever.
It's insane.
And that shows you that they read into it in a way that's colored by their own experience and their own bias.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't blame Gina Carano for not seeing this coming back when she was hired by Disney in either 2018 or 2019.
Yep.
Because yes, things were ramping up with wokeness starting in the Trump, the first Trump election and everything, but it wasn't as much pressure as the series of events that was COVID, then Black Lives Matter riots, then vaccine mandates, then January 6th, that period of time, that very short period of time with so many high octane, polarizing political events really broke some people's brains.
With COVID on top of it and everything.
And piled on so much more pressure on public figures than there used to be.
Again,
and she wouldn't have seen that coming when she was hired originally. But that also caused her political evolution in her mind.
And it's interesting because a lot of this is not about what she's saying. It's about them trying to force speech upon her. And that's a problem, right? The average person doesn't like it when you tell them. Remember when they were going around during 2020 and they would stand in front of someone in a public place and try to make them raise their fist? Because it'd be a group of people. Yeah. And because do it or you're racist. In the chat, Matt says radical left versus far right. No, remember, it's got to be the tubular right. If they get to be the radical left, the right should be the tubular right.
Well, she's just clearly not the monster that they were painting her to be. And most people can see that in hindsight. But they cited all of these quotes from her co-stars on The Mandalorian that were praising her because they actually got to know her face to face instead of, villainizing her from behind a screen. Giancarlo Esposito, who was one of her co-stars, said that Gina Carano was his favorite co-star without hesitation. Another co-star, Emily Swallow, said, "All I can say is that Gina and working with her personally, what impressed me from the beginning is she's so interested in other people's opinions, so welcoming. She wants to have genuine dialogue. She's just like that in her day-to-day life. On set, she's more curious about other people. She's very giving. She's very gracious."
We need Ian and her to have a conversation. You haven't had somebody pay close attention to you talking until you've talked to Ian Crossland.
Oh, yeah.
Who will when you talk to Ian Crossland, he is paying attention to nothing but what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's the greatest thing in the world. We need him and her to have a conversation.
He's locked it. And also Bill Burr came to her defense after her termination, saying she was an absolute sweetheart, a super nice person. And her Twitter Avi is just, if you haven't seen it, it's the perfect summation of her personality. It's a tiny bunny rabbit holding what is that? Some medieval weapon.
Yeah. It's very her.
That's very much her.
There's a $20 one right there from I See All.
He said, Violet Brandani was on the Chrissy Mayer podcast yesterday. You remember her from the Whatever podcast. She had nothing but good things to say about you, Mary. She respects you even though you don't like her. I mean, it's not that I dislike her as a person. I just dislike the choices that she makes in all of her opinions. But she was nice when I met her.
And of course, to finish this off, a lot of this really does come back to the fact that Pedro Pascal has been very openly political for a very long time.
And not just political.
Yes.
He demonizes right-wing people.
Yes.
He demonizes mainline Republicans.
Yep.
In a way that Gina Carano never did to left-wing people.
Yep. So it is a point of a certain level of privilege. I don't think it's male privilege. I think it's star of the show privilege and political privilege, because we all know that the politics of Hollywood leans one way and one way only.
Well, do you think that she's going to win or that she has a real chance?
I don't know. That's
we asked you guys that in the poll today.
There is a good question to be asked. What does a win even look like? What does that mean? Settle out of court. She gets a certain amount of damages. What does that mean?
Or clearing her name.
In the document, it says she demands a jury trial. So I think it's unlikely that she's going to accept a settlement out of court. just to more so prove a point than it is really about the money, right?
Right. It's sort of like Johnny Depp.
Well, yeah, Johnny
suing
Depp didn't need the money.
Amber Heard, right?
Right. She lost more opportunities than just $75,000 worth.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So it's really not about the money. It's about proving a point. And Elon has endless finances to back this up. So, I mean, she could have a good chance, but it's Disney.
There's a great like movie to be made here where it's like Elon is not Elon. It's just a very, very cunning financial investor who wants to bankrupt Disney so he can buy it.
Oh,
I like
that might be his 4D chess move here.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I like that. And I asked the chat. So in the chat, guys, leave your vote here today. I said, do you think Gina Carano will win her lawsuit against Disney? Right now, it's sitting at 77% of you say yes.
All right.
So, all right, let's move on then, shall we, Mary? Let's go to Super Chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, happy Wednesday, Brett and Mary. Mary, excellent job on the McCain podcast. I now understand why you beat Brett. He can't hang with Bar Fight Morgan.
Well, if you guys want to watch that video, we have to get to 10 crisis
How many are we at? I want to watch the video.
We're at 2.
Wow, you guys are really letting me down.
You'll get to see it anyway. But for the rest of you, we'll have to get to 10 parties if you want to see it. And if you want to hear the story, go listen to Meghan McCain's podcast. Shane H. Wilder said, damn, I actually forgot Sarah this time. Hi, Sarah.
Hey, Shane.
Hi. Tacti Platty said, I'll bring a case of Baja Blast. Let's go.
Tacti Platty sent me a great meme today. It was the cover of The Last of Us and said the Baja Blast of Us. And it was Ellie and Joel carrying things of Baja Blast. It made my day.
Corey Anderson said, coffee mommy.
Much like hot RV mommy, I guess we should just stop using mommy in a sentence.
Let's not.
End it at mom.
Mom.
So we're not going to do that.
So you'd rather be coffee mom than coffee mommy?
Yes.
I'd rather be neither,
Or
but
neither.
if I had to choose, yeah.
Okay, let's do one more.
He also asked, where can I get one of those popcorn buckets for science purposes, of course?
I'm sure you'll be able to go on eBay and get them after it comes up, but I can't guarantee it won't be used.
I'm going to be honest. I think that joke's going over my head. Are these not just the normal coffee buckets that have been always been sold at movie theaters? Is there something I'm missing?
Did you see the picture?
No.
Look on the screen here.
Yeah. We can show it to you.
I'm going to show it to you. So this is what it looks like. What does that say to you?
Yeah.
Oh,
it resembles
my sweet summer child. She doesn't even get it.
Resembles orifices.
It's a popcorn fleshlight.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
I have so many questions.
You get the point now.
Yeah. Okay,
it's supposed to look like those.
And you
what
put
are those?
your hand in there.
What are the worms?
Sandworms. Yeah.
The sandworms in Dune. It's supposed to look like that, but it looks like something else.
Wow, this is
all right. Let's hold off on the rest, and we'll come back after the fact. Mary, tell us what's going on with Whitney Wright.
Whitney Wright is an X-rated actress who just had a lot of publicity because she made a trip to Iran, and while she was there, she just decided to simp for Sharia law. She just thinks Sharia law is great and you need to respect their laws. And yeah, that's what she was promoting to her audience on Instagram when she visited.
She says if you respect the law, you'll be safe in Iran.
Yes.
True.
And she posted pictures of herself covered up in hijab attire when usually she is wearing lingerie and, sports bras on her Instagram. This was a big change for her. And a lot of people reacted with outrage. And I mean, I just think it's absurdly hypocritical, obviously, because she doesn't hold herself to the standards that Iranian women have to follow.
Kind of like it's kind of like Mia Khalifa simping for, the Middle East in believing in things that would, in living a life that would get her killed if she went there.
Like Mia Khalifa, Whitney Wright posts a lot of pro-Palestine content on her Instagram. She feels very strongly about geopolitics. I'm sure she has many nuanced thoughts to share about it.
Just imagine being like this. You're just these guys who are like, look, politics all day. Can you just keep the politics out of my porn?
Yeah.
Like, is that so much to ask? I understand that it's 2024, but can you keep the politics out of my porn?
It's ridiculous, obviously. So, Sarah, you being of Iranian descent, you have more knowledge about the culture there and what is expected when you visit than we would. So would you mind explaining to us, I guess, what it's like?
Yeah. So there's a few different angles here. She is being respectful of the culture. I will give her that. Iran could benefit from more tourism, but for obvious reasons, people don't want to go there.
Can you imagine being the head of the Iranian tourism
Hold
board?
on. What are the obvious reasons why people wouldn't want to go to Iran? Please explain.
One of which being Sharia law and the strict standards that women are held to.
Do you think they're in like a group chat with like the North Korean tourism board?
They're like, guys.
Like, can we?
There is North Korean tourism.
Can we brainstorm on
Yeah.
how we can get people here not using something other than Dennis Rodman
Like, let's do a 3-for-1. You hit Iran, North Korea, and then China.
and Syria on the way back?
Even China, not so bad if you have a VPN.
Yes.
But you said you visited multiple times, correct?
I have. And honestly, okay, when I used to go there, I used to go once every few summers in my childhood growing up. Most of my family was there. Those were like the funnest summers of my life. If you have
Fun
family
summers in
there,
Iran.
yes, like if okay, most of the time I would be indoors with my family. So I wasn't really affected by the Sharia law, but there's always that overlying fear that it's there.
And you couldn't
which
drive yet,
the
so that
extreme
wouldn't
is
have been a problem.
you could at the time.
Yeah.
I couldn't, but women could at the time. There's the extreme where it's too much, but it does also hold people to a higher standard. So it's not all bad. There's good and bad in it.
But what would you say are the good parts versus the bad parts?
The good parts being the lack of promiscuity. The fact that women and men, because of that, and not just because of the promiscuity, but the other standards of politeness and like I can't think of the other word.
Well,
but like
if
just
Whitney,
politeness
if Whitney
and
Wright
like
was just a polite girl, that might make sense. But she's
dignity.
promiscuous.
That's the word I was looking for.
Well,
dignity.
I think
we're held
that
to a higher standard.
Zuby has talked about this because he grew up in Saudi Arabia and he has so many, great things to say about it. When at first you would hear, you grew up in Saudi Arabia? Geez, what was that like? But he says so many positive things about it because you actually can use fear and the rule of law to control people's behavior in sometimes positive ways. So if you think that you could get your hand chopped off for stealing something from a store, you're not gonna steal.
Right.
Basically.
Right. And I think there's a lot of stereotypes. Most of Iran, as far as I know, is not that extreme. But it is something where, like, I believe one of my cousins did literally get 40 lashes for drinking and driving. Like, there's extremes of, like, you're not going to get your hand chopped off for stealing. That's probably more like, I don't know, Afghanistan or Iraq.
What about the
but there are
Afghanistan
other,
tourism
like,
board?
Capital punishment is a thing.
they could all learn from each other. Yeah. But in this case, it's kind of messed up because there was a Persian actress who got banned from going back to Iran because she did a nude photo shoot in France. I actually looked it up. Her name was, she did it with for a Leonardo DiCaprio movie or something. Her name was something Farahani. I can't even say her first name. Golshifte Farahani.
Oh, I remember. Okay, we talked about that.
Yeah.
So why in this
talked about
case was Whitney Wright allowed to enter the country? Is it just because she flew under the radar?
So that's the thing, is that they didn't know, and had they found out what her career was, they probably would have at the very least jailed her.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Bringing it back
a lot of people
on.
were understandably outraged at this. I saw this post.
Golshifte Farahani was in Extraction too.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
She's famous.
Yeah.
This post on X says American porn star Whitney Wright is in Iran, my birth country, where women are killed for simply showing their hair and being true to themselves. Whitney has published several photos of herself completely covered up on Instagram. On her post, she called me a warmonger and tells women, if you respect the law, you'll be safe in Iran. Iranian women don't want to obey a discriminatory law. Rosa Parks stood up against racist laws in America and became a symbol of resistance. We want to be like Rosa Parks and not Whitney Wright. And by the way, the true warmongers are the agents of the Islamic Republic who will execute you if you are true to yourself.
I wonder I don't like the amorphous nature of the true to yourself part of it.
Yeah.
But what would Whitney Wright's stance be on abortion laws? If you follow the abortion laws here in America, you'll be okay.
Yeah. Well, that if you say that you're pro-choice in Iran, that means you're Islamophobic. So
Yeah.
you can't say that.
And you actually, if you say you're gay in Iran, they will make you transition.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I heard about that. That's crazy.
So I want to clarify. I'm not saying that I support the extremism. I'm just saying, you know, like there is some good in the bad, but for the most part, it's an extreme and there's not a balance. And they both have a point.
So she visited the former U.S. embassy. This caused a particular stir in 1979. The embassy was the site of the Iran hostage crisis, where Iranian militants held 66 Americans captive, 52 of whom were held for more than a year, with the siege lasting 444 days. It's funny. I was watching like old episodes of Hawaii Five-0, the recent Hawaii Five-0 last night, and they had this episode where they had a bunch of like radicalized U.S. citizens supporting like the basically like Islam defeating America, right? Like, and it's really funny because you're watching it and it's just so hard to buy into, but you know that this was like a real thing. This is something that happened to Americans.
Oh,
here.
they're trying to do it again right now.
But it's really, really funny because like you watch that, and then I was looking at some of the reviews. They're like, this is ridiculous. It's disrespectful to Islam. It's disrespectful to Muslims. But also, like, they're not pointing out that this was based on things that actually happened.
Right.
And then you see stories like this and you're like, it's not that far-fetched. It's really not.
I also wanted to read Whitney Wright's statement that she gave to Newsweek after they posted this article about her. She said, thank you for reaching out. I am extremely disappointed that the attention surrounding my visit has seemed to overshadow Israel's ongoing genocide in Gaza. They have killed 27,000 Palestinians, and there has still been no real intervention from any government, and how Israeli settlers are putting their bodies in front of aid trucks at, I don't know how to pronounce it. Rafah crossing, to block them from entering while people inside Gaza starve. These are the things that should have our attention. It's my sincere hope that the media and public focus on the pressing issues like the war crimes that are affecting countless lives rather than the details of my private travels.
Well, you're posting about your travels, so they're not
So
really
private.
Is this like the new way to be edgy, or like going to Iran because they're pro-Palestine?
No, this is the
what's
result.
happening?
This is the result of decades upon decades of Marxist education here in America, being raised in a country that tells you to hate your own upbringing, to look at everything under the nature of oppressor versus oppressed. That's what we're reaping the benefits of our own Marxist education system here in America.
She also followed it up. The article already came out along with several others some of you have seen. I'll be surprised if they actually update with my quote, "In the meantime, all eyes on Gaza. Everything else is meaningless." So this is just an American white woman who is promiscuous, fully enjoys the privileges of, you know, the sexual revolution
Here
in the West.
Yep.
Which is destroying us, by the way, but is hypocritically supporting a country that does not operate in the same way.
It's really, I always wonder, like, I mean, somebody has to pose these questions to them, right? She has to have at least one friend, family member, or somebody who said, like, but what about your chosen career and their thoughts on your chosen career? They can't not have an answer to that.
I mean, she did just risk her life to go to this country. I don't know if she understands the gravity of it.
Cosplay as a like forced Muslim for a week, because I mean, for a week it may be fun, but when that's day in and day out, you have a dress code. That's not freedom.
It is like a weird form of cosplay, right? She's
Right.
Like, oh, I look at and she has like
about
a
that.
getting ready for my day, and
She's like taking like thought duck face selfies in her hijab.
which is actually
this
true.
chick is a certified bimbo. Obviously.
Here's the picture if you were wondering. Yes, this does exist. She's like, oh, look at me.
Look at me with my lip injections, and my eyeliner, and my hijab
She's like, look
on
how
vacation.
modest. She's like, look how modest I look.
Yeah, she's literally like fetishizing wearing a hijab.
This is so random to me.
But if she didn't have any family members or friends who told her not to go into the porn industry, she certainly doesn't have any that will question her on this decision. So
Clearly.
that's why she's so blind to her own hypocrisy.
She lives in a bubble.
All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Corey Anderson said, my wallet is made of an old baseball glove.
Interesting.
That's kinda
cool.
cool.
I actually watched. There's a couple of interesting YouTube channels dedicated to like that I watched like the YouTube shorts of, where it's like they make wallets out of old footballs or old basketballs.
Oh. Okay.
It's just cool leathering, but it's interesting stuff.
Upcycling.
Yep.
Jerry said, Mary, how many super chats for you to wear a blue wig for an episode? That would get itchy. I do have a blue wig because I dressed up as Marie Canker for Halloween, so that's still sitting around somewhere.
It wasn't a bad look.
It wasn't. What do you think for the wager? What would you say?
It's not for me, so it's up to you.
Well, I already gave 10 for the bar fight video, which we're probably not going to get given the timing. Let's just say 10 for both.
Okay.
How about it? The next one from the Manic Mustache. If it's too cold in the studio, then get back in the kitchen. Just trying to help.
There you go.
I said it was too warm in the studio.
Solid advice. Yeah, it's too warm. Organized Business Services said Mary looks smaller today. Nice sippy cup. Hi, Brett.
How's your sippy cup doing over there? Can you taste the lead?
Well, the sippy cup is so big, it makes me look smaller.
That's what it
It's a skinny life hack. And the lead just makes my drinks taste nice. It's an extra spice.
Let's do one more.
Disco Jensen said it would be poetic justice if Belle Delphine used a pumice on her feet in the bathwater for some thirsty simp to drink.
I think
Well,
they
no,
would
that's
like that.
That's what they want. That's literally the goal.
Isn't pumice stone what like criminals use to like erase fingerprints?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Makes sense.
Like you rub your
Or just use a
hands
lighter.
with
That would
pumice
hurt.
stone, but no, like you can like there's like the things about like real hardcore like criminals who have like basically removed their fingerprints and like rearranged the skin so that you can never have your fingerprints found. But like one of the things is like you can rub your palms, or I'm sorry, like your fingertips with pumice stone every day and it will remove it, but like they grow back, so you have to keep doing it.
Is that the point in which you're in too deep?
Yes,
And
you've been doing it
should
too long.
consider a career change.
Why do you know that? Hey.
I don't know. How do I know that? Let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back after the fact. Mary, let's talk about Gen Z and their need for therapy.
Yeah, it's tax season and Gen Z, like usual, is not okay. They're feeling traumatized by the stress of having to file taxes and pay out to the government. They're not making that much money anyway, so I definitely understand their financial woes. Over half of Gen Zers report that the stress of filing taxes has brought them to tears, according to a new survey.
It's rough,
And they
man.
even claim 1 in 4 Gen Zers claim they need help from a therapist to recover from that traumatic experience.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, there is like this weird fetish for therapy now.
Well, especially amongst Gen Z.
And celebrities.
But
Celebrities love therapy.
If you look at the data, I think that actually Gen X and Boomers are more likely to be enrolled in therapy than the average Gen Zer.
Interesting.
You know what I think about though is like
But they don't
science
talk about it.
changes all the
Yes.
time. Science changes once every like 100 years. So whatever the therapy we
faster.
think works right now is going to be disproven very soon.
Yeah, I mean, the discipline of psychology is not actually that old and
Right.
has not been tested for long enough for us to know what it really does to
Look,
people.
I don't push back against it. Like, I did dialectic behavioral therapy and I did cognitive behavioral therapy, but those had end dates in mind.
That's
and
built into the whole process.
Yes, and that was part of my addiction
Yeah.
recovery program. So it had a stated goal, and it was tied to a specific event and period in my life.
Right.
And I got a decent amount out of that. Honestly, most of what I felt like I got out of that was just the feel. It was like a placebo effect. Like, I'm going to do something about this every week. So it bolsters how you feel about yourself, that you're actively working to do something about it until you feel good enough that you can get past it and you don't need it anymore.
Also, that makes sense because you're a man and you're like solution oriented, but these other forms like just basic talk therapy or psychoanalysis don't have an end date built into them, which also makes them more lucrative for the psychotherapists.
Yeah.
They have more clients that are just glued onto them indefinitely. There's no end goal. So the New York Post did an article about this, and they added this graphic that says, "Help, having a mentee be." Never before had I heard the term mentee be.
We were laughing about it
to
yesterday.
stand for mental breakdown. So Gen Z is just having mental breakdowns casually as they do their taxes.
They're also saying that they're obsessed with being rich.
Yeah, a new survey suggests that Gen Z and millennials can be diagnosed with something called money dysmorphia. They're obsessed with the idea of being rich and also have a misperception of their own finances.
How does that work?
So roughly 45% of Gen Z and millennials, thank you guys.
Let's get more!
45% of Gen Z and millennials are obsessed with the idea of being rich. 43% of Gen Z and 41% of millennials experience money dysmorphia. Another 48% of Gen Z say they feel behind financially, along with 59% of millennials. To explain money dysmorphia to you, money dysmorphia refers to a state in which someone's self-perception regarding their finances doesn't match reality. It can lead to poor decision-making and anxiety, especially for wealthy Americans who have anxiety over not making enough money. So 43% and 41% of millennials suffer from money dysmorphia. It can cause people to become obsessed with obtaining money, despite the fact that they're not necessarily broke. Symptoms include browsing all day on luxury sites and attending country club wealth seminars. Like, a lot of Gen Z makes TikToks about going on Zillow and looking at houses that they can't afford.
But the idea of like working a lot is not new. Like plenty of rich people will talk about how like, look, once you take it, like what was the quote? Take it from someone who's got enough, it ain't never enough. Like, you know, once you get in the custom to making money, first of all, once your tax bracket changes, your liabilities change and all this stuff, and it becomes a process in which you have to continue to do it. You don't just, I think a lot of people have that mythical idea that you get a certain amount of money and then life just stops and you're happy.
Mo money,
you're
mo
good.
problems.
Yes, P. Diddy, Mason, Biggie talked about this in '97. Mo money, mo problems.
This has been a thing. And also a lot of self-made wealthy people, they probably got there because they're more conscientious about spending than everybody else. And their self-perceived wealth is not what other people perceive. Like, I don't know. I've met rich people, especially in the South, who you would never know because they live in modest homes with old cars.
Yeah.
They don't wear flashy jewelry or whatever. They don't own designer.
I guess back in the day, the old version of Zillow shopping, like Zillow shopping online, would be the guy who goes to the car dealership to test drive a car he can't afford.
Well, Gen Z has found somewhat of a solution to this. They're buying homes on Amazon for $30,000 a pop. You can buy an Amazon home that folds out.
That's so sad.
It comes to you flat, and you fold it out, and you can hook it up to water. I don't know how you could get like heating, air conditioning.
You have to have land.
You have to have land.
You have to have land to put it
What about
somewhere.
like sewage?
Yeah. I think that
Dignity.
it does come with a bathroom inside, so you can hook it up to plumbing somehow. I don't understand how it works. But yeah, money savvy young adults are turning to online retail giant for prefab apartments.
I do like the idea. Like, one of the reasons why a lot of people hate the like the van life people, right?
Yeah.
And one of the reasons a lot of the reasons they hate them are a couple. It's like, one, they always assume that they're trust fund kids.
A lot of them are, to be honest.
Like, yes, some of them are, but I think a lot of them also, we live in a world where you can work remotely now. So like a lot of them are talking about like they will go through their expenses and they end up spending like a lot of times the same amount of money that they would end up spending living at a normal apartment. But I like the idea of being solution oriented and doing something that makes the most of your circumstances rather than living in the apartment and then complaining about how expensive rent is and how much you hate your landlord.
But it's still not ideal to be rootless and constantly, living a nomad lifestyle.
Yeah, it's not for
got a
everyone.
$20 from Philip Reed. Before the show's over, I want to share a part of my childhood that I recently found again. The game Omega Boost from '99. Look up the intro. To this day, it's the most awesome thing to me. I haven't heard of that, have you?
Nope.
You're the one who's into like retro gaming, stuff like that.
Let's keep going. Well, maybe we'll come back. It's pretty long. It's like 5 minutes long.
Oh, okay. Well, we might get copyright anyway if we did show it. But yeah, I understand why millennials especially would feel behind financially. They're probably saddled with more student loan debt than Gen Z.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Did you see that video of that girl recently who was talking about how she, needs to work 40 hours a week just to pay her rent and barely anything else. She feels like she's stuck.
And then
This
she
is the
comes
one
home and
that-
has no time to cook dinner and she's exhausted. Yeah. I
And
saw
Matt
that.
Walsh talked about it because he's like, I work more than that. I said, look, the hours a week work schedule argument is never a fruitful one because everyone will argue that their circumstances are worse. Everyone. So you could work 60 hours a week in an office. Sure, you're working 60 hours, but the dude working 40 to 60 hours a week, blue collar, who's building homes, who's working construction, isn't going to have much sympathy for you.
Well, men find more fulfillment from work.
Yes.
This is just a fact of life. It's something a lot of feminists can't accept.
I
but
get very like when
this
the, when
this
the
girl,
weekend's
I
done-
like see this video of this girl. I feel bad for her. I don't want to laugh at her. I don't want to mock her, and I don't want to tell her to pull herself up by her bootstraps because that's not an actual solution. That's just making fun of someone. Like.
Yeah.
And a lot of young people feel like directionless right now, but especially young women who have been lied to that having families or getting married is not something to aspire to. And now she's
That it's
living
trapping
in
them.
this reality and doesn't feel like she has a way out.
And being gaslit
Yeah.
by everyone and everything around
Like
her.
this should be easy to you. Something is wrong with you if you feel unfulfilled by this lifestyle. No, there's
Right.
something wrong with the whole system of it. And like for that girl, it's like the girl boss feminist thing about like aspiring toward a career and leaning into only having a career. That would be fine if, I mean, it might be, good enough to live in the delusion if you got to do the Sex and the City thing and actually, be independent. But this girl can't even make ends meet. It's not working.
I'm
Like,
gonna point to
it might be fine if she were comfortable and she had disposable income and actually was like doing the girl boss thing, but it's not like it is on the TV shows.
I want
Great
to
point.
point to what Wodenshot says. He says, laughing and mockery work wonders on people. You should try it. I actually disagree here. This is where I do think that the ladies from Mostly Peaceful Latinas are right about something, which is that using that tone, it's like talking about facts and logic. They don't work on women. It's not politically expedient to use those arguments against women. You have to, at least in some fashion, appeal to emotion.
Alex
You do.
Clark also
Yes,
hammered
and
this
Alex-
point home.
It doesn't work. It's just never going to work. And trying to mock and humiliate the woman for feeling this way isn't going to be something that actually works if you're trying to show her a different way. And the problem is that all of the viewpoints from this side, they don't really align with the whole, I understand how you feel, but this is the way things are. Most people on this side are going to tell you to toughen up, deal with it. I mean, that is my initial reaction to most stories like that, is that if I was to go and complain tomorrow, no one would give a crap. That's the way of the world. What is the point of complaining about it? I don't get it. So, but I understand that using that as an argument for somebody, though it might make you or me feel better to say that to them, it's not going to actually bring them into any type of alignment with how you feel they could change their way of living.
Also, just replying to someone who's, her profile, like a young girl who is complaining about these things, and just saying, get married, that's also not a solution. Because you're just saying, go find a man who can be your wallet.
Yeah.
No man wants to be that. And she aspires probably to marrying someone she actually likes.
Right.
So, I don't know. I just see a lot of empty discourse and people not really offering solutions and just memeing on someone who has real concerns about the future of our economy. Maybe some of them are making, wrong conclusions.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to have a family because AI and the singularity is coming, or like climate catastrophe is underway, instant heat death, or
Aliens.
aliens are gonna invade or whatever. They're coming to the wrong conclusions, but they're pointing out the wrong problems, or the right problems. I'm sorry. So like credit for that where it's due, at least.
Yeah, what is the solution? Is there really one yet?
No.
Because there's no like middle ground right now because we've gone to such an extreme where
There's-
she either has to work the 40 hours or try to find someone who can split the rent with her, but then that's also not gonna cut it for very long.
I never
Like,
understood that because I thought that was the norm. Everybody I've ever known, when they get out of high school and they go into college and they go after that, they have a roommate. You have a roommate and you split the rent, but it's still expensive. and food is extremely expensive. Gas is expensive, though I guess coming down a little bit. And it's kind of like, I do get annoyed when people start bringing up like people are never going to own houses. I just roll my eyes because I'm like, well, until we actually come up with solutions, what is the point of constantly like, yes, I get it. Making fun of the boomers is great. And you can place most of the blame at the feet of the fiscal policies and the decisions made by the generations prior. But filling the internet with it, it's not going to actually solve the problem. But again, who am I to tell them not to? Because I don't know what the problem with what the solution is. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just know that it's demoralizing more than anything. Just a bunch of videos of people complaining about it, a bunch of years of people airing their grievances for problems that are very real is demoralizing to the culture, and it's only getting worse.
Yeah, I think there is no one blanket solution for everyone. There's a different solution for every single individual human being. Some women love living that life. Some women love like the grind of working 40 hours a week and living in the city, even if they don't have the Sex in the City lifestyle. That's what they prefer. Other people, I mean, me personally, I hate big cities. Like the girl in the video, maybe she was sold a lie and she would be much happier just being a housewife.
Hiroshi Utaru was right. He says the weird thing is being able to afford your own place right out of high school. Yes, that is weird. Most people cannot.
Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. I don't know if there's my solution to this is to focus. I made a post about it the other day. Said even when life sucks, focusing on the gratitude that you have for the things that do work in your life, for the things that you do have, being grateful for that, even when everything else sucks, is almost like a life hack to deal with the fact that there are going to be things that are going to be bad. That
Grateful
life isn't always going to be.
Whom for giving it to you?
To still,
if you don't have God.
What do you mean? Like, it's not about it being given to me. Being healthy, I'm grateful for being healthy. Being able to have a job that I love right now.
These things are gifts, right? They're blessings. I just don't see gratefulness ever, I don't see a shift in people becoming grateful until people become religious.
I mean, if I can do it, then they can. But I get that's a perspective.
Not true. Most people can't.
Yeah, and I could be completely wrong, but when you do like a program, don't they have you believe in some kind of a higher power?
I went through a program that's called Health Realization, which is not religious based.
Okay,
but the 12 steps, yes, that's true.
Yeah, But the thing is, like, look, there's a couple of statements you heard a lot growing up. Life isn't fair. I honestly believe
I never heard that.
As simple as that is, or the idea of your parents saying, "Suck it up, it could always be worse."
Never heard that either.
I understand that those aren't necessarily kind things to hear, but being able to tell yourself that, maybe it's not fair, but it certainly makes dealing with the unfairness a lot easier.
Well, you were also raised by like a nom vet, but like, so I think that you were raised by someone who has a lot more discipline than we see in this day and age, and like people who are my and your age and like millennials. So I think that you kind of have more of that like nitty gritty, like pull yourself up by your bootstraps upbringing that we just don't see anymore, coupled with just this blanket of cynicism that's gone across society, and which that you could draw also the correlation with the lack of belief in a higher power.
Yeah, I think whatever movement comes along to really offer solutions to young people in this day and age, it's not going to sell them a message of, I will take away all of your suffering. It should be that suffering is an inevitable fact of life, and we want to give meaning to your suffering that you're going to go through.
That's a great point.
People are suffering and they feel like it doesn't mean anything and that they can't get anything out of it.
The cynicism, I think, is a big part of it.
The sacrifices they're making will never have fruitful outcomes in their life.
I tend to find the cynicism of the culture very, very abhorrent. Like, I just don't like it. I've never enjoyed the idea that you can take everything that you've been blessed with, to be born here in the West, to be born in one of the most, I don't know if stable is the word, to be born in a country where you're better off than being poor here in America. You are better off than 95% of the rest of the world, right? The problem is there's a lack of context, unless you've actually seen those other places, or you remind yourself on a regular basis, like, hey, as bad as I've got it, look at how good I've got it.
Yes.
Like, it's very unrealistic to expect people to be able to make that comparison every day if it hasn't been shown to them.
If you're not going to Iran to visit your family once every few years.
Yes, exactly. So,
but look, people don't want comfort. It's nice to have air conditioning and everything, but that's not really what people want at their core. They want adversity. to have meaning in life, and we don't have that here in the West. That's why we resort to, you know, attaching labels to ourselves to feel like we're facing some kind of adversity, because
People
we're not
seek
in
it.
any life or death situations here.
Yeah, they end up seeking it in really messed up ways.
Yeah. But as for the talk about paying taxes, I think these Gen Zers would make great plaques in Brett's Tax Heroes Hall of Fame wall. They should send in their headshots.
You too can be on my tax hero wall as you
Yes.
bravely stand up against the evil organization that is the Internal Revenue Service.
Alongside Wesley Snipes, Lindsay Lohan, and others.
Yes.
To name a few.
Yes, just to name a few. Let's go to Super Chats. Disco Jensen said, to be fair to the girl, Flea is pure testosterone and talent.
Ugh.
That wouldn't make me want to drink someone's sweat, personally.
And I
but-
just found out he was the voice of Donnie from the Wild Thornberries.
Wait, what is that?
You were talking. Was that the thing? You
Yeah,
sent
I
me
just
the other
found
day?
that out yesterday, that
Yeah.
apparently he did. Donnie was like the youngest brother in the Wild Thornberries who didn't actually talk in words. He just talked in weird like sounds.
Okay, I'll have to look that up. Shane H. Wilder said, I read that Jonathan Rumi and Mark Wahlberg are doing a Hallow prayer ad for the Super Bowl. I'm curious as to how it will be received.
We did talk about
Wow.
there was two Catholic placed ads for the Super Bowl. That's expensive.
What's the other one?
I don't know if it wasn't one for the Chosen. I don't remember what the other one was for, but there was a couple of them that were Catholic based. And there was a third one that was based from a Jewish organization pushing back against anti-Semitism going into the Super Bowl.
That's crazy that Hallow has that kind of money, though.
That's
I
expensive.
guess I understand it. They were able to pay for Liam Neeson. So, username I'm not going to read said, wasn't Ian in an Orbitz Super Bowl commercial?
Yes, he
I
was.
wasn't able to find it on YouTube. If any of you have the link, please provide it. Corey Anderson said, 49ers colors are scarlet and gold. No red, bro. Okay, scarlet is red. Come on.
Well, okay, if you asked most people who know who the Flash is, what color is the Flash's costume? They would say it's red. They wouldn't say scarlet, but they call him the Scarlet Speedster.
Scarlet is red.
Red.
50 Charlie said, Swift is so mid, but maybe she's just been the beauty standard for the last 15 years and we need someone new. I'll never get her. Let's go.
Let's go.
I disagree. Brett, as a heterosexual male, is Taylor Swift mid?
Taylor Swift she's beautiful.
She's not mid.
She's not mid. No, but also people call Margot Robbie mid. She's not mid.
It's just like
It's
meaningless
it's
at this
posturing
point.
Yeah.
to pretend like. Also, let's face it. The same conversation came up when people talking about Erin Moriarty. Oh, she destroyed her face. She's so ugly now. I'm like, yeah, and you'd still have sex with her 100 times out of 100 if she asked to have sex with you. So
For most of them.
so kick it.
Good point. High Voltage 75 said, Mary compliments Brett. You dress politically neutral. Brett compliments Mary. You'd be really good at doing drugs.
She would.
Yeah, that's just us.
Yep.
Our dynamic. Corey Anderson said, and that video is why I watched the Super Bowl alone.
There you go.
No girls allowed. Valiant Renegade said, Disney earnings call in 30 minutes going live. Cheers to Pop Culture Crisis. See y'all real soon in the studio.
Yes, he will be in studio very
Yes.
soon.
But
Let's
we
go.
won't say when. T-Dog said, did Rachel Zegler start the X war against Gina Carano? She didn't start it, but she was definitely part of it. And then she got Snow White. So
She's a mean girl.
we see where their sympathies lie. Shane H. Wilder said, can they stream the trial on X?
What if Elon started like a
great.
Oh.
X trials?
That would be good. He just live streams the trial on X.
Then he
Like,
tries the X Games, but it's copyrighted because the X Games already exist.
would they let him do that?
I would love to see him in like a Judge Judy position.
Oh, yeah.
Or he does the thing where, because Harvey
Yeah.
Levin used to do the thing where he would comment on the trials afterwards, right? Like,
I don't know.
when they would do People's Court and stuff like that. Harvey Levin was part of that.
Fourth 1000 said Rachel Zegler led hate campaigns against Disney's own actors on X, false ones, Jeremy Renner and Gina, but Disney gives her Snow White.
I remember the Jeremy Renner one.
What did Jeremy Renner do again?
Basically, she said that he was abusive, and then she said we should make the next Hawkeye a trans woman of color.
Oh, because he was like accused of domestic
Yeah,
violence.
which was never proven of any sort. She's just an evil mean girl.
Yeah.
But she can sing. My goodness, can she sing?
That voice.
Oh, my
if only she used it selectively. Organized Business Services said, I love Brian, Jack, and Joey Hines, but when you were handcuffed on Route 88, Point Borough, New Jersey, by the FBI that Sunday was not good. I played ball with Brian and Kevin. Brian lose the bar, and I lose too. I think you mean you lost. But,
Thank you, Organized Business Services.
damn, that's crazy. Disco Jensen said, I believe it was more Kathleen Kennedy than anyone. Gina wasn't towing Kathleen Kennedy's line, and she was popular and opinionated. Queen Bee defense is to strike.
Yes, I would agree. I think that the root of this problem goes to the culture and the environment that was created around Lucasfilm, which is all, of course, harbored by Kathleen Kennedy.
Mm-hmm. Tacty Platty said, Sarah, do you need any memes for Cast Brew?
I would love some more memes.
Make one.
Always feel free to send them my way.
Make one, Tacty, like the Baja Blast of Us, but make it the Cast of Us, and they can be holding Cast Brew coffee.
Oh, that's a good one.
Great one.
Yeah, definitely. Bucky Ducky said, if Mary likes Cringe, is she an Office fan? It's full of secondhand cringe humor. Yeah, I mean, I watched The Office growing up, and it's good. I think it's overrated, probably, at this point. Not that John Stewart said radical v tubular. Again, you're showing your age, bro. Our age, sorry, not your.
No, tubular's great. Also, bodacious. The bodacious right would be good too.
What about grody and corroded?
And
Grody.
what?
And corroded?
Corroded's just an actual word. No, like I haven't heard grody since I was in the 5th grade. Holy crap! There was a kid I went to school with, Grody Grady. His name, I mean, that's
Are you kidding?
No,
Grody or his last
they
name?
called him Grody Grady.
Oh, okay. Because you're just always mentioning these people that have the most
Crazy
insane names.
Corn pop.
Yeah, you're literally Joe Biden right now.
Pat the plumber.
Pat the plumber said, people who pay too much attention to what I'm saying creep me out.
Well,
I like it.
Don't you want to know that they care?
Yeah, when I feel like Ian cares about what I'm saying.
Somebody also pointed out earlier, they said, Brett, stop putting your finger up and listen. The thing is, for me, is like, I have to do that because, like, even though I'm listening, I'll forget what I'm saying, what I plan to say. The dynamics of doing a show like this is very different from having just an actual conversation with someone, because a lot of it is about making your point and like exposing it, you know, and basically you have to do this weird exposition that's not how you would normally talk in a private conversation. Indeed, a lot of the times when we're talking off air, I'm like, I wish I could actually talk like this on air, but it's just not the way that it works.
100K
Brett's also
special?
doing multiple things at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that John Stewart said the bunny is holding a flail, Mary. Got it. And also Sarah, delicious coffee. She brews it herself.
She makes all
You
of it.
know this. Organized Business Services said, guys, I hate gambling. Man, what I saw in the casinos. It's not pretty. Corey Anderson said coffee stepmommy? It's only getting worse.
It is.
Hiroshima Otaru said, remember when Hamill wanted his grandkid aborted?
Yep.
Ooh, I forgot about that.
Yep. That's a big one. People still bring that. Anytime he says something annoying politically, they're like, aren't you the guy who tried to have your grandchild aborted?
Weirdo behavior. Drewish AF said Swiftie Super Bowl stuff is the NFL aimed at women.
Look, I got a question. What is the percentage breakdown of gamblers, men versus women? Who gambles? I'm guessing women use slots more, but...
My knee-jerk response would be men, obviously.
Men play the ones that they think are skill-based more.
I bet you there's plenty of men using roulette tables, which is not skill-based.
Yeah. But I would bet like maybe more men than women.
I bet you it's
general.
way more men than women.
I mean, think of the poker world championships. Mostly men.
Disco Jensen said prawn stars should not be in the news cycle. This is a true sign of societal decay. In the 80s and 90s, no one gave a damn what they did outside of work.
It says men are statistically more inclined to gamble than women. This holds true across a variety of gambling settings. Men also place larger bets and wagers than women do while gambling at offshore sports bettors. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Men are more willing to take big risks.
True.
That makes sense to me.
Organized Business Services said, a true story. We had a whale at Trump. What is this? TAJAC, the blackjack table, and he would not go to the bathroom. He pissed at the table and had the drink girls to dump his piss in a slot bucket. He shit at the table.
Who?
Must have been a hell of a
They're saying
whale.
Trump did that?
I don't know who you're talking about, but that sounds unhinged.
I
and
would
smelly.
leave.
Urashima Otaru said, lead is sweet. The Romans used it to sweeten wine. Ooh,
lead's so good.
Imagine drinking some like mixed wine with lead at the Colosseum, watching people get killed.
You're getting effed
Just
up,
getting
dude.
rowdy.
Yeah.
Problem gambling by gender: 4.2% of men and 2.9% of women.
Interesting. Drewish AF said, Brett, I've been clean for almost 7 years and appreciate that it's something you talk about. Keep going day by day. Love the show, y'all. I don't know what this stands for. What is FHRITP?
I don't know. Maybe that's something related to the 12-step program. I have no idea.
Okay.
But I did not. Again, yeah, I don't mind bringing it up and mentioning it in passing, but it's something that, especially in current day, like I also get weary against the idea of talking about these things because it's not trauma dumping. It's not like talking to you about all of these things that I've been through, and certainly there have been a crap ton of things that I could talk about. But it's like when we talk about women posting their L's, like I've done a lot of stuff that I just wouldn't ever share with people because like dealing with that on my own was mine to do. And there's like this weird fetish for like just sharing all the mistakes people have made because they feel like it's being more honest. Well, I honestly don't need to share all that with you. So that's my honesty.
Good point. You will never see Brett posting his L's.
At least not those. Maybe some of them. I don't know.
Corey Anderson said, my household paid collectively $30,000 last year. I hate taxes.
Everyone hates taxes, my friend.
Who doesn't? Bucky Ducky said, me struggling with the emotions of killing a possum that ate my chicken. Maybe talking to someone will help. Gen Z, I need therapy to pay my taxes. What a joke. Gal Gadurp said, pull yourself up by your bra straps, ladies.
Yeah, maybe that's the real problem is that term was sexist. Women don't wear work boots to the same percentage as men. Therefore, there should have been pull yourself up by your work bra straps.
Where does the bootstraps thing even come from? Shani H. Wilder said Sears used to sell affordable DIY home kits. Most are still standing. I'm sure they were of higher quality than the new Amazon Basics version. That's funny. I didn't know that.
I love the idea that it's actually called an Amazon Basic because Amazon has their own line of like generics, Amazon Basics. I love the idea that you can buy an Amazon Basics house.
You will live in the pod.
And you will be happy.
Username I'm not going to read said Gen Z will laugh at you for living in a double wide and then buy fold out Amazon Shack LMAO. P.S. We need less girl bosses and more girl employees. Good point. Gal Gadurp said, my grandfather gave me the real deal when I was a kid. Boy, nobody owes you a GD thing. You want it, you work to get it, and fight to keep it.
Yeah, I see these memes all the time. One of my favorites, like, here's a comprehensive list of the things the world owes you, and it's just blank. Like, those things speak to me in a very boomerish way.
Well, if boomers were raised with that mentality, then why do they raise snowflakes? that doesn't quite make sense to me.
I mean, a lot of this
Internet,
is based on that.
I think.
What is it?
I was going to say the internet interfered.
I guess, yeah.
A lot of it, I think, is also like we were raised on that lie of like send your kids to college to find prosperity, and that still permeates the culture. When what it does is it doesn't bring you to prosperity; it brings you to crippling lifelong debt. That's
For many, yes.
That's a lie that
Yeah.
is very hard to topple.
John Quixote said, I had a lot to add to a Swiftie convo today. Afterwards, I put my head against the wall and reflected on what brought me to this. Bread and Murray. That's us.
Maybe one day that'll be our alter
Happy
egos.
to educate you.
Brett and Murray will be our alter egos.
Yeah, or what about Mret and Barry?
Mret and
Mret
Burry.
and Burry.
Barry.
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 Barry. I don't like that. I like Murray. Like Joker.
It's actually a pretty name.
Corey Anderson said her name isn't Red Johansson.
That is true.
So Scarlett isn't red.
But
I guess.
that's a name and not.
That's the joke. Disco Jensen said,
We're almost at a fourth
I'm
crisis
of the-
party. Somebody please make it happen so that I can forget what I just had to read.
We're not going to see the bar fight video. Too bad, so sad. Disco Jensen said, I'm of the opinion that Gen Z has never had to go without, tighten the belt, eat nothing but ramen, all while working 2 jobs and a side hustle to get through school. The entitled generation for real.
The problem is, like, for a lot of them, what happened was, like, you could work 2 jobs, eat ramen to pay for school back in the day. Now it's so unrealistic that they just can't even
that's not
start
gonna
to
happen.
try.
Especially with the interest rates.
Yeah.
It's straight up usury. Better for most of them to not go at all. John Quixote said, also, Drake whipped it out on Twix? What? Also, instead of Coffee Mom, how about Keeper of the Beans?
Oh, I like Keeper
like
of the
that.
Beans.
I feel like you're going somewhere with that.
Yeah, we'll workshop it.
But apparently Drake, who is it that talked about it? Was it Aiden Ross?
Aiden Ross.
Mentioned his missile.
Yeah.
He called it his missile. He says
And
you're
then
blessed.
Drake sent back laughing emojis, so I think that the video was real and people weren't sure, but he like confirmed it. Yeah, I didn't have to see that, and I don't want to. Thank you.
Thank you, boys. Thank you, girls.
Disco Jensen said, "Bean Baroness, Sarah."
Wait, what is it?
The Bean Baroness.
Bean
Okay, I
Baroness.
actually like that.
Okay,
That's kinda
I still
cool.
like
Baroness
Keeper
of
of the
Beans?
Beans.
The Baron. I like Bean Baroness.
Okay.
High Voltage 75 said, "Meme review at 100K. It's been a while since last one."
The meme reviews don't usually do that well.
What do you mean do that well?
We
haven't posted them, have we?
Well, first of all, we do an audio podcast too, so there's been this
Oh,
large
yeah.
chunk segment that people have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Fair point.
I do love your memes, guys. I do always try to look at the memes when they're sent.
Yeah, well, if you guys want to post memes, go to the subreddit for Pop Culture Crisis. A lot of people don't know that exists.
Yep.
Negative YouTube said, "Brett, thanks for mentioning Dark Matter. Great show."
And then Bucky Ducky says, "Stop saying mommy, you effing coomers."
Yeah, I agree. Yash said, he just sent like a sticker. Thank you. High Voltage 75 said, "All the super chats at Timcast and PCC are just funding Tim's poker addiction, aren't they?"
No, what every super chat here funds is our ability to stay a show. It does. Like the show has
That
to
got
make,
real.
The show has to make money. The show has to make money if we want to stay on the air.
Okay.
It does.
Just so we're clear. Organized Business Services said, "Not Trump, a blackjack player shit at the table."
Yeah. But what was the point of the Trump in
Whoa.
that statement?
What?
They were at like a Trump casino.
Okay, no, that's what I figured. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
know Trump owned casinos.
Now that's a gambling addiction.
Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said, "Well, frankly, my dear Scarlett, I don't give a damn." Is there more?
Boom.
One more here
see
from
any.
Gal Gadot says, "Boomers and others who were raised in a rough environment sometimes overcompensate and try to spare their kids from suffering. Misplaced love and empathy can be as damaging as indifference or hostility." I would agree. I would agree.
So you got to find the happy medium, I guess.
Yeah, it's not easy. You know what I think a lot of it is also like if you come from a family that just doesn't have a lot of money or status, maybe it's just easier to find that happy medium because they can't bulldoze all the problems out of your way. So one more here from Shane H. Wilder said, "Also look into Mr. and Mrs. Smith viral marketing. It's ridiculous."
Okay.
Will do.
Will do.
I have no real interest to watch that show.
Just give it a hate review, though.
So, all right, guys, before we go, one more shout out for this. Would you please hit the like button on this video if you liked this show today? Please do that. Also, remember that we are getting very, very close to 100,000 subscribers. So would you guys all please go and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? I want to get there by the end of the week. It's fantastic, and thank you all so much for being part of this journey with us. And Sarah, thank you so much.
Thank you guys again for having me. As always, castbrew.com. We've got a bunch of limited edition flavors and special blends going on. We've got Ian's Graphene Dream, as well as the Alex Stein blend out. Follow us on Twitter at castbrewcoffee, where we also have a link for our merch.
Perfect. And one more here from Sorenko Productions says, "I want y'all to stay on air, so here's some monies."
Thanks for the monies.
Thank you for the monies. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. Guys, if you would like to follow me, Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would prefer to listen rather than watch. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok at popculturecrisis, and on Instagram at popculturecrisispod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We got one more before we go from Organized Business Solutions. Says, have a great night. Well, with that being said, guys.
A good night, not a great one.
Both.
Stay humble.
We'll be back with another episode tomorrow, guys.
Bye.
Peace out.